Hello. Back.
Hello.
All right. Wait, is that you, Casey?
This is me, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Looks like we've got a shorter break than expected.
Looks like it. We've got the same match we just saw, which, well, maybe the same match. Of course, different variations in both these decks, very possible.
We'll have to wait until we see the deck lists.
Well, I'm going to have to ask for them to get PM to me because...
You can just have Robbie send them over to me if he wants.
Oh, yeah. No, let's just have that. Well, we're going to... Let's just ask them on Twitch is probably the... So, it looks like we do have the According to My Design start, so it's a very common tech card in Entanglements. And so exactly the same start as this last game.
Interesting that Chris Kelly is playing the original non-AI version of Like My Father Before Me.
Well, I don't think it's actually... yeah, interesting.
There was an official PC release AI.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah. So yes, I mean Chris Kelly's own card, and it's true. I mean, he is a collector of all of the AIs, so that is indeed interesting. He probably has them like split 50-50 in all of his decks, just so he can have a little bit of variety in what he's looking at. Because he has like 15 or more decks just fully built at any one time.
That's a good point.
And can we get them to maximize the full screen us? Did they text you, Lois? Okay, they're showing us the... Oh, man. I just looked back, like... So I saw the JCC Puller and Dodge, and I think that might have been it.
Okay.
Well, wait, let's see if the Twitch stream with the delay... Oh, no! I just switched over to the delayed Twitch stream just in time to just see the Dodge.
Well, Kelly's... Yeah, there's the Dodge.
So yeah, I have not really much idea what's in the hands. Oh, it looks like he got both Trix Pullers, which is nice. It's always what you're looking for in Throne Room.
Yep, it's hard to see with the way the screen is set up for us right now, but I assume Robbie will take care of that in a minute.
Yeah. Did he text you the list?
He said he was going to. He's dealing with some tournament director issues.
Indeed, he's wearing multiple hats this event.
Mm-hmm. No, and a big thanks to Robbie for everything he's done both this weekend and for the past about a year and a half now that he's been running these events. It's been fantastic.
Never have him. Yeah, never have Star Wars events just ran more on time than when Robbie's running now. Mm-hmm. Just very, very good at keeping us on a good pace and making sure that we actually get done at a reasonable hour, which is, I mean, that's the most important thing you can ask for in a tournament director, I think.
Is that an Alter V that we just saw from Chris?
Okay, I'm not sure. I guess, I don't don't think I saw an altar, but I might have missed it.
I thought I saw an episode 1 altar.
And it makes sense. The episode 1 version is clearly superior. You can pull it with Master Qui-Gon.
Although I think he's playing EPP Qui-Gon. I think I just saw at least one EPP Qui-Gon.
That would make sense.
There's the home one docking bay.
Yeah, and you did find the
Jedi Council chamber.
So, activation going on all cylinders here.
As good of a start as Reed had with his activation last game, Chris with a slightly better start, getting both the Boss Nass chamber and the Jedi Council chamber turn 1.
However, Chris electing not to pull Yoda right away, which still seems odd to me.
Mm-hmm. All right, we've got the deck lists, so...
All right.
Let's take a look. Chris's list looking fairly similar to what we saw from Reed. He does play the new... I'm sorry?
What's the space look like?
Rick in Queen's Royal Starship, replacing Booster and Pulsar Skate as the one-of blue card.
Interesting.
And he plays... here's a card I'm excited to see. Ahsoka Tano with lightsabers, the new starter deck version of Ahsoka.
Nice.
He also plays Lieutenant Blount.
Some ISB tech that isn't quite being useful here, but Lenny was playing ISB, so...
It's actually a cross-out. It was Captain Andor, and last minute change to Lieutenant Blount.
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with that kind of thing. Like, last second, you're like, wait, what if they play ISB? And then, all right, got to find a slot for Blount, and you put him in.
The other big difference between this list and Reed's list, Chris plays 3 copies of Escape Pod Combo and 2 under attacks.
Oh, he was ready for entanglements.
And deck list error. It does say Alter Virtual Premiere on Chris's deck list, but he is very clearly, and it's on the table right now, playing the Episode 1 Alter Virtual.
I thought they deck checked. What is the world coming to?
Deck check. And those cards, as you said, are almost identical, except for the fact that a card that isn't even in Chris's deck can pull the Episode 1 version.
All right, so...
You don't even have to specify when you put Alter V on your deck list. It doesn't... I don't believe you're required to say which version you're playing with, but Chris chose to, and he chose wrong.
Yeah, I mean... I
don't think we're going to hammer him for that.
I don't know. I think we might need to be in contact with the tournament director. This might be a disqualifiable offense.
You know what the sad thing is? In Magic, it would be.
Would it really? But anyway, Alter going to...
It would definitely be a game loss. It would certainly be a game loss.
Alter going to the lost pile by virtue of the turn 1 drain.
I can't imagine that there's anything in this deck that Chris really wants that for.
No, nothing. Literally nothing.
Unless we saw 2 senses from Reed last game, so maybe Greg has senses as well. Let's get to Greg's list and find out.
Yeah, we're still not actually even sure if this is Troopers or Walkers.
This is Walkers.
Walkers.
Blizzard 2, 1 copy of Blizzard 2, 1 copy of Blizzard 4, 1 Blizzard Scout 1, 1 Tempest 1, 1 Tempest 3 virtual, and 1 Tempest 6.
Okay.
Again, looking fairly similar. Corporal Dreslin, DS61.5.
If you'll give me the remote, keep on going.
He does play the Bikers, Barrack, Elsek, Iroll, 1 Stormtrooper Garrison, 1 copy Domination, does have 2 close calls, 1 crash landing.
Interesting.
Expecting speeders.
Yeah, or it's Good card against all the allies, for sure.
1 Gig, 2 I Can't Shake Him, 1 Masterful Move combo, 1 Monarch, 1 Trample, which is, I think, subpar in a Walker's list.
Yeah, I like 2 now that Chewy with Bowcaster is a real threat.
And 1 Occupation.
Just 1 Occupation, huh? Well, we don't see any free rides from Chris's list, right? So, might be getting away with it. Of course, I mean, part of the reason to run multiple Occupations is just to find it quicker. So.
Sure. And that's if he can flip, and I'm seeing... This can't be right. I'm only seeing 3 sites. I must be missing one. I am missing one. 4
Maybe
sites.
the desert was with the starting stuff? Yeah.
Desert Heart, Mos Espa, Docking Bay, Watto's Junkyard. 4 sites.
Those are pretty much the standard 4. A lot of times players are doing Mos Eisley instead of Mos Espa, or instead of Watto's Junkyard, just to convert Diplo's Mos Eisley.
Yeah, I don't know if I like Watto's Junkyard if I'm not playing Watto.
Yeah, I mean, it's just basically the only other... There's only 2 other 2-1s, that being Mos Eisley and Watto's Junkyard. In a vacuum, Watto's Junkyard is better because you can put it wherever, whereas you're kind of sometimes constrained.
Are people not high on the Junlin Waste right now? I'd play that.
Junlin Waste is definitely in the Trooper build. The Walker build generally has not played it, just because you want the activation. But it's definitely been under consideration. Matthew Harrison Trainer at one point wanted to do the Junlin Waste and expand the Empire kind of tech. I can't remember if he might have actually done that and brought that to an event at one point.
It's good. It's especially good in the deck with Chewies and Leias and Padmes.
Yep. Well, the light
Right.
side text doesn't carry over, but the 4+1 does.
The ability 6 text.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, the expand the Empire doesn't carry that part over. But yeah, on the site itself. So anyway, Greg opting for the start that I was kind of anticipating that Tom would have done, this is what I like to see from Entanglements. He plays Piet right away, uses Piet to get battle deployment, uses battle deployment to get a Walker. In this case, Blizzard's got 1. And then transfers them all over to create a pretty safe site. You're fine here if Chris battles, and you're also kind of fine if he doesn't. You'd probably rather not face the music right now, but you don't hate it if he does. You're pretty secure.
Who's on Blizzard's got 1?
That's just Piet. Docking Bay transited from the Executor. So I like this play a lot. I think Tom really cost himself by playing so scared in the early game. Alright, so Chris finding the other Docking Bay. That's presumably all of his activation. Probably the only other location in his deck is the battle planes, right?
Yes.
Standard Throne Room main insurrection stuff.
You used to see Throne Room decks float a system and a token space package, but not so much.
Yeah, since the reset, that seems like something it's been doing less and less.
Well, when the Home 1 package came back, you started seeing it a bit more, and I am kind of surprised that we're not seeing Home 1, Akbar, a couple leaderships, and maybe a Narshada.
That didn't quite work. Alright, so Luke going out not to the Docking Bay. So Luke going out to contest the other Tatooine site. Which is what Reed might have done too, is the thing. So that goes back to, you just give so much up by transferring, or by shuttling up. And by spending 4 to deploy Piet, and just, I don't know if it'd ever not deploy Piet turn 1 to Executor Docking Bay in this deck. It's just so autoplay, that play. It's just so much advantage. Anyway, let's talk about this game, not harp back on that. So Imperial Domination already on the table. I wonder if you pull Firepower here as Greg. Might not be worth it. Not this early in the game.
Well, what's he going to want? He's going to want
maybe the sack shield.
Battle Plan, the sack shield.
Maybe even Resistance.
The question is, does he want Secret Plans or something along those lines over Firepower?
Yoda going to the Jedi Council chamber again? Is this just like a thing? Did I miss?
It is now.
People do this?
Everyone at home, if you have one takeaway from this tournament, it is that the new in play is Yoda to the Jedi Council chamber as soon as possible to generate force and pull sense.
I guess it's a thing now.
I've never seen this before, and now 2 games in a row.
Yeah, Greg goes for the Firepower. What's the other shield that he has?
It looks like Allegations, and it's got to be either Battle Order or There Is No Try.
I should have looked before Firepower came out. It's going to be a lot harder to tell right now.
I did not see sense in Greg's deck, so I'm assuming that There Is No Try.
Yeah. I mean, sense is an unusual play in entanglements, so not a surprise.
I really liked it coming from Tom, though. I thought that was great. He didn't get to use it, but...
Yeah. The game may have been different had he not top-decked those 2 senses. Although there wasn't really much interrupt action on Reed's part.
Well, if he could have sensed the sense responding to the first trample, then maybe things go a bit differently.
That's a good point, yeah. Sensing the senses, that's sometimes the best use of sense, is to get your intros through, as opposed to stopping theirs.
There goes Corrin.
Corrin.
Not the best card in this matchup.
Yeah, Chris probably has no real remorse about either of these top decks.
There's Domination, and if Tom had that, maybe his game goes a bit differently.
Yeah, he actually played 2 Dominations in that list, and we didn't see it.
I don't remember him ever drawing an Imperial for Battle Destiny.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about that either. But the Retrieval was probably would have been the more relevant thing in that game. Because, I mean, he didn't lose the board that hard, he just kind of bled. It was the death of 1,000 cuts. Reed just got out early and just kept on doing damage, and Tom never stopped it. But anyway, in this game, Greg's looking pretty good. He might actually be able to flip this turn. I couldn't tell. The Desert Heart was definitely from hand. He may have missed on the Tatooine location deployment from reserve. So that would probably delay him a turn. Watto's Junkyard being the site he's missing. Or was the Desert Heart from hand? I thought I saw him drawing to it. He's looking to the deck for something. Using Battle Deployment to grab Tempest 1. So he probably has Veers in hand because he's going right for Luke. This might be Veers and a close call. I think with Veers and a close call, you feel safe about attacking Luke. But then there's Sense. I don't know if he has enough for Veers, or Walker, Veers, and Forfeit Fodder. Let's see. Three more for, we're assuming Veers. No, wait, is that Veers? There's something written on that card. We should probably assume it's Veers.
I believe it's Veers.
Yeah, no, Greg's got some extra force. This is the benefit of starting mobilization points and having it from turn 1 on, is you got a lot of force. Even against something like Thorn Remain, which as we see is giving up literally 0 icons. Mm-hmm. Chris now searching out, presumably, no, Control.
Tunnel Vision.
With Yoda. take a look at chat.
Here's Crypto.
Yeah. Deck all over it. Yeah, oh, yeah, I see. Yeah, no, Chris has his preferences of decks for sure. He's a big throne room guy.
Dodge and 2 Wisas.
So he's dodging the battle and he loses the 2 Wisas to the Firepower.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. So
again, Wisa not a relevant card from this time forward
in
really. The matchup. So Chris getting very good luck with his top decks.
Here's an interesting thing, though.
Are you surprised about the dodge?
Yeah, because I was just about to say that if Luke had just stayed there, he would have killed Veers and the Walker.
Mm-hmm. Like,
in exchange for Luke, that's a good trade. That's a trade I don't want to make as the IE play. I would have been a little bit hesitant to actually initiate that battle if I'm Greg. But obviously it worked out really well for him. Because
what does he have to draw to clear both?
The 6. Well, he draws the 5, but is +1 from like my father before me.
Now, so Greg, a 5 would clear both. Maybe Greg had a close call or something we don't know about.
Right, but Yoda's on the table, so presumably Greg has a sense in hand, or Chris has a sense in hand. He did pull the control.
You saw Chris get the tunnel vision.
Right, but maybe
you're saying that tips off that he has a sense in hand.
Yeah, I mean, why would Chris pull the tunnel vision if he didn't have sense in hand? If he was going to pull tunnel vision without a sense in hand, he would have waited to do it until later in the turn. So I think him doing it then, actually him doing that was just like 100% wrong. There's no reason to have done it right then. Or maybe he wanted to do it before he top decked. Okay, yeah. Never mind all that. So yeah, there's no definitive read on sense in hand, but I would have thought he would go for sense first. Oh, well, maybe he needs to find a play for next turn. I don't know. I'm back and forth. All right. Well, either way, that's the play made.
It's really hard to know without seeing his hand.
Yeah.
And without seeing when he went into the deck. I mean, it's possible he went into the deck looking for sense, saw that something he really wanted was in his force pile.
No, but he did it during Greg's turn when he had no active force.
He had nothing saved?
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we think Greg probably has close call in hand, but that's about the extent of our read now. Whoa,
here's that Queen's Royal Starship.
Going at it in space. This could be a pretty big blowout here. Greg probably not ready for it.
Who's on the Devastator right now?
That is Ozzel. Okay, Greg now using mobilization points to pull Executor, thinking, oh wait, I might actually need this game.
Well, does Chris have someone to go on it?
I don't even think it has capacity.
It can take one pilot.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It doesn't draw on its own, so it has to.
Oh, it doesn't? Alright, yeah, so someone is going to pilot this thing.
Permanent may add 1 pilot and 5 passengers. Permanent pilot is Rick, who provides ability of 3. R2-D2 deploys -2 aboard. When we'll need a new one on table, adds 1 battle destiny, immune less than 5.
That was a rebel of some kind.
6. It's hyperspeed 7, which is very nice if it's your only ship.
I can't tell who that was that got deployed there.
Looking at the icon, it's hard to see.
I think it's a rebel. But that's about it. Lando would probably be the best pilot. Oh, we've got a passenger too. They're both like off. All right, let's see who it is now.
So one of them is... Oh, sure, Greg, hold it like that.
Greg. All right. So
you got to assume it's Lando plus a pilot.
Yeah, or he could be doing like a Skywalker and Padme kind of thing.
That's true.
But yeah, this.
Well, either of them. Padme's a pilot, isn't she? Or no? Leia's not.
Yeah, I can't remember if the new Padme is a pilot or not.
Let's look her up.
Good. Yeah. I was about to do that. Now I don't
No,
have to.
she's not a pilot, and neither is Leia, so it can't be Padme plus Leia.
Okay.
It could be. I mean, I think the best combination is probably Rey plus Lando.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rey's not a pilot.
Rey's a pilot. Okay.
Rey's a pilot.
Yeah, dude. Oh, the allies.
Oh yeah. Rey's a. It's Finn who's not a pilot.
Yeah. Dude, Rey does a lot of piloting in episode 7.
No, Rey's a pilot. Right. Because she's really a Skywalker.
This is a Jyn Erso dark side level moment. And we're not, not a Skywalker yet. Alright, so that's a 6 and a 1. So that's enough attrition, assuming nothing is going on, to clear the Devastator.
And I guess Greg didn't have that close call.
Yeah, he would have definitely deployed it here. Ozzel forfeit 6 only. Unless there's something that's happened without us seeing this is the Devastator dying. And that's a huge setback for entanglements. Wait.
Yep.
There's Devastator's dead.
Is he anywhere near the point where he can deploy Executor?
Well, no, he doesn't even have the mobilization points activation going on right now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's only activating 9 force this coming turn.
It's a huge swing, and you got to think maybe Tom Haid had the right idea, stacking up the Devastator early.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. This is something that can happen.
I understand it on Greg's part if he has close call. Or even if he has command.
Command also is something you'd probably be looking to hold in this situation. Or justice.
Justice, command, close call, any of those really save him there, and I guess he had none of them.
Yeah, this is a situation where I could have seen... I think this is something that probably could have happened to me as well, because I probably would have made pretty similar plays to what Greg did, and sometimes you just make them have to have it, and sometimes they do. And you just kind of have to work forward with that. Because, I don't really take exception with any Greg's play so far, but Chris had the right answer to the questions Greg was asking.
It sounds like the volume problems that we had before are back. Is that the case? People in the chat? To answer Zima, yes, he did pull Executor before, so it's in his hand, but he does not quite have the force to deploy it at this point.
Alright, so if you could text Rob and let him know about the volume thing. My phone is still...
Looks like he's activating...
Did I break my phone? Yeah.
Looks like he's activating 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 with Emperor.
Yeah, now that he's got the Waters Junkyard, he'll get 11 per turn.
12, because of Executor. Docking Bay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, okay, so you got 10 this previous turn. And next turn he'll get 12. But yeah, he's still got to figure out how to use his force here. It's a difficult position as we attack about the player. Not much in the way of action right now. I think Greg's just really in the tank about... Okay, so he is able to flip. That is one upside here. Is that because Chris spent the last turn affecting the space, the ground is open enough for him to get that flip going and perhaps get the cards he needs with the 7 side if he's able to maintain the flip, which probably he can. It's a lot easier to stay flipped than to get flipped in the first place.
He can maintain the flip, but the card selection isn't going to be great. It's still only going to be about 3 a turn, which is, it's significant, but...
No, it's true. I mean, he's in a bind, no question about it. So did that fix the volume issues, people in chat? You don't think that was a good play, Crypto? What would you have done? I probably would have done something like that or similar. Maybe possible consideration to moving General Veers over in front of Luke. I mean, the issue with that being exposes you under attack, but they need to have it and they need to have the right destiny. But it does turn on the mobilization points. And stuff like that. I don't know. So what would you do? Actually, I don't even know what I'm responding to. But was that, were you saying wasn't it a good play just his most recent turn, or are you talking about letting himself be open in space? Because I don't even know if he had an option not to. Like, did he have the right moment to reinforce space?
Well, he moved down with the Blizzard Scout. I mean, unless you want to move the Emperor up, probably not. He could have shuttled up the Emperor the way Tom Hay did and left the Scout and then waited for a turn to shuttle everything down once Chris deployed to Tatooine, but you saw how that didn't work out for Tom Hay, so...
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the only real opportunity to have done something different was, instead of attacking Luke with Veers, do something else that turn and maybe draw some more cards and get the defensive measures that you need. But I think that's the only debatable turn, and I still think that play had merit. So I don't know. I mean, sometimes you play right and still lose, and still it doesn't work out. I mean, card games are games of percentages, and he made the best percentage play he had, and just turned out horribly for him.
I'm being told now that the volume is as high as we can make it, quote. So hopefully the issues are resolved. Let us know in the chat.
He's discovering cards, Queso.
The point that's being made in chat is that you really can't see any of Chris Kelly's life force piles.
Yeah, no, we've dealt with that. At least one player has had that issue. Like, both games. Or, like, every match. At least one player has sleeves that are... The thing is, they have to turn the brightness down, like, really far in order for it not to look... In order for us not to have glare. Yeah. Oh, did you want me to cut that? Okay. Yeah, I mean, Greg's sleeves are pretty dark as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, no, and I think if the table positions were reversed, Greg would have the same problem. We could probably see Chris's sleeves a bit better.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, they said get a black tablecloth, and Mike Jam backed this up, and because it absorbs light, so it definitely cuts down on the glare. But
it's certainly good for the glare, and Chris Kelly is a meticulous double sleever, which protects his cards well, but it does add to the glare.
Oh, does it? Okay.
The double sleeve, certainly.
I believe you.
Because you've got 2 layers of plastic now, getting in between, reflecting the light off.
Okay. Makes sense. So we have Chris Kelly thinking about how to respond to this basically non-turn from Greg. Greg obviously intending to, he's saving force, just trying to get get his space back, because you really can't do anything without both space and ground in this deck.
Here's the Philo play that we saw last game from Reed.
So do you want me to cut it? All right, hold on, I'll be right back.
So Chris is currently holding 2 battlegrounds, Mos Espa and the Tatooine system. So he deploys Philo over to the Home 1 docking bay. He can transit her over to the Executor docking bay and threaten a drain of 3 that he doesn't even have to pay for battle plan for, while meanwhile backing up Luke with Leia, so that even if Greg wanted to pay to drain on the ground, which is probably a terrible use of his resources, he can't do that. And then here's Jyn for good measure. So Chris really trying to lock down all of Greg's options, putting the pressure on Greg to either get the Executor out to the system, which will probably take him. He might be able to do it this turn, but I'm not sure he'd be able to do it with enough pressure to battle this coming turn as well. And probably 2 more turns until he's able to kick Chris out of space, and at that point, Chris trying to threaten with the Philo Gandish drain. Chris thought about where he was going to deploy Jyn, ends up deploying her to Watto's Junkyard. And now you do see him move Philo over to the Executor and draw some cards. Chris recirculates. And Greg will activate. I believe he's still getting 12. Control phase for Greg. I would be surprised if he tried to pay to drain here. It would just get canceled by Leia. He needs to get the Executor down.
Oh, yeah, without question. And it looks like he's got the force pile to do it.
Yeah, it looks like he can play the Executor, but probably not with enough backup to clear the system. He would probably want to take a turn shuttling people up.
Yeah.
There it is.
And I think we can see enough of that card image to tell that there's definitely Lando on board.
Yes, he's got Tarkin in hand. It looks like at some point he replaced battle deployment with...
He just did that, yeah.
Okay.
So now
he can deploy Mahdi. Can he get Tarkin also in battle?
Looks like it. If he has an Imperial command here too, this might just be...
This might be enough.
A space shellacking. Oh, Elsic for free.
Elsic also, yep.
If he has Barrack, well, he's got like 5 force left. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Sometimes Devastator dies, and it's not as much the underworld as you think it is. Although, of course, using this 12 force is going to set him back quite a bit on tempo, but keep in mind, Throne Room spent a lot of force attacking Tatooine in the first place.
Does he want to play Occupation right now?
But not the end of the world. Yes.
Does he want to play Occupation right now? Yeah?
Yes. Absolutely. But that was in reserve. I think that was him looking for
Was that his reserve deck?
Yeah. Yeah, I think. Or maybe that was him showing his hand. No, because where is his reserve? Okay, that must be his reserve. No. He's got 1 card. That was his hand. So yeah, absolutely Occupation here. Chris Kelly retrieving with Lando to a void in the middle of the. Actually, you can kind of see a little.
Kind of make it out. More importantly, Greg didn't play Occupation.
He did not. Maybe was that? It must have been his hand. That is strange. I would have played Occupation.
He also had
every
I
time.
Can't Shake Him in hand, so I'm either going to play Occupation.
All right. Here's the reason why you don't play Occupation, because you. No wait, no. I was about to say because you need to grab the free ride. But if he only has 1 Occupation, grabbing free ride does nothing for you because you can't.
No, I would say you probably play Occupation. You probably don't even battle. Play Occupation. You shuttle someone up. You hold on to the I Can't Shake Him. You go from there.
I'd probably battle.
I would just be worried about some kind of.
Well, it depends if he has a command or not. If he doesn't have command, I think the battle's bad. All right, so he uses Tarkin to redraw the Barrack Destiny and then gets punished by Merrick Steele, being the next Destiny. All right, so 6, 7, 12. So we don't know who the other pilot is, but this gets Lando for sure. Lando, and presumably the ship stays alive. All right, so we've got the 4. So he just is drawing 2 Destiny. Yeah.
Yeah, and see, this is what I was worried about, because, like, let's say he can Uni-Ta Lando or something, come back down, clear more stuff the next turn. You're worried about the counterbeat here.
Without the command here, I wouldn't have battled either.
Maybe he has the command and he's saving it for the second battle.
That could be, but right now he has to lose Elsik and Tarkin. He's got the close call. So that,
and he also has the I can't shake him if he wants to get somebody out before Chris can counterbeat.
Yeah, and let's see. I mean, also us talking about all these interrupts that you'd have to have. This is kind of walking around the fact that there's probably sense in deck and maybe in hand. So all these things are vulnerable.
Yep.
But it's looking like, well, the close call still might be. You might be thinking about whether or not the close call goes through.
All of that is to say that I still don't know why he didn't play Tatooine Occupation.
That's also true. Yeah, because if you lose Tatooine again, you lose the game. So
you're not going to have a better window to play it.
Right.
Especially if there's only one in your deck.
Yes. Yeah. And it's very possible it's live next turn. And of course, even if it isn't, you're threatening it. Like, Chris might have to make suboptimal plays in order to flip Greg back if Greg has the occupation on the table. There's much
100% changes the way that Chris would have to play the game.
Right. There's much less incentive to have to do that if occupation is not up. So retrieving Ozzel with Imperial Domination.
And that's going to come out. You don't just put a 0 back into your deck for no reason. He's going to I can't shake that next turn.
No, you can't get Admirals with I can't shake them.
Isn't it a pilot of ability less than 3?
Except for Admirals.
Yeah,
I'm not sure why. Maybe people are scared of Shirnu. I don't know. It's a question to ask for the original designer back in whenever I Can't Shake 'Em was originally made years and years ago. That's a survivor from the reset.
Yep, set 0.
Wait, he's retrieving a trooper with the objective. Looks like Chris is pulling aim high to make him. Did he pay for it?
The most important thing to come out of battle is that Chris lost the ship, so I can't shake him or not, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, and of course,
not playing occupation now is just inexcusable.
Yeah, there must be. We might have misinterpreted something. That occupation can't have been in his hand, otherwise he would have, or maybe he just forgot. I don't know. But yeah, also, of course, the aim high shield doesn't need to be pulled because the effect is on the table. But yeah, Greg looking like a really good position now, despite the fact that it was looking pretty grim a turn or two ago. Chris didn't really he had a good turn 2 turns ago, but last turn wasn't that great for him, just adding Leia and drawing. So he needs a big turn here with taking advantage of that reload.
So Greg just bumped the table to confirm that he didn't need to cut Chris's deck. He was, of course, fist bumping the top of the pile, but you can't tell that.
Oh, yeah. Also, Chris, with the under attack, is that the deck or is that his hand that he's looking through right now?
I believe that's his hand because he just looked through his deck.
Yeah. I wonder, so do we have potential coward being pulled?
It's his hand because there's Chewie.
Okay, there goes Chewie. And so this is I mean, you can't have everything, so Greg used the close call in space. Perhaps you might want that back now after this battle.
I believe he has another one in hand.
You might, yeah.
Big question is, does he have a trample?
Trample would be really nice here. He'd probably trample pre-battle, though, to make sure that Chewie can't even shoot at the walker.
I would trample right now if I were.
I would also.
Greg.
So if he's not trampling now, it might be because he doesn't have trample.
It would also bait out the sense if he then has a close call to use in the battle.
That's also, yep. He probably doesn't have it. Well, if Chris had decided that he was losing the ship no matter what, then possibly he doesn't sense the close call in that battle. Knowing that he only has one ship, Greg doesn't know that. That looks like Rey to the Waters Junkyard. So Chris attacking on multiple fronts.
Mm-hmm.
Pulling. What's
Do you like that play with Rey? He already has Jyn there.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe I would have liked to see Jyn just break a cover and attack. Maybe Jyn breaks a cover anyway, and now he attacks and hopefully preserves someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he can do this attack first. This locks out the possibility of a react. Did you see what he ended up pulling? I saw him pull Hujix to the front, but what did he take?
We'll get a chance to look on the replay here.
Oh, good call. Nope.
No, I didn't see.
Shuffling. Nope. The delay is not long enough. You guys are too live.
I think people are talking in the chat about the second matchup. I think it's Throne Room and Scum. Game 2.
Okay.
It is Court of the Vile Gangster Scum for Chris Kelly against Greg's
Throne Room?
Jakku Careful Planning.
Okay.
Jakku mains. So essentially Throne Room, but starting Jakku and going second. We do have an update that you in the chat have seen. Reed has won Game 1 by 16 force in the other semifinal. Oh, and I guess that's what Jerry was talking about was the Reed Matt Scott game.
Okay. Alright, that was really weird, but I think I fixed my phone. The internet was helpful.
Is that your phone making that sound?
Oh no, it's probably the TV in the background. The Red Sox are on.
How are they doing?
They're down 3-1.
Jeez. All right, I couldn't quite see what some of those cards were. There is the occupation that's in the reserve deck.
Okay, yeah, that explains it. We knew there was no way it was in his hand. Okay,
Look,
so what?
I think Greg drew a 5-4, if I'm not mistaken, and everything is going to die on Greg's side. Chewie is going to be left over. I didn't see what Chris drew. It was hard to tell.
Yeah. But it looks like the salient point is Veers is dead now.
Veers and Blizzard 1, or Tempest 1, rather.
Yeah, but that's not too much of a tragedy with Greg's version because he does have the Imperial Domination to get Veers back.
Mm-hmm.
And he has Blizzard 2 that we still haven't seen. But of course, that's not. I mean, now Chris does not have enough force to. I mean, at least we assume that he does not have enough force. We can actually see his force file. But it looks like he doesn't have enough force to do the moves. Interesting,
There's no way to tell.
He didn't battle with Rey. He just deployed Rey there.
And he hasn't broken Jin's cover either, so I'm wondering what the plan is there.
Well, he does flip Greg back by doing this. So that's probably why he did those deploys that way.
And you're just going to lose Rey to a Hoojix, or what's the plan there?
Yeah, he probably has the Hoojix, but you don't even really need to plan on... Right now, on board, Rey's not needing to be Hoojixed. Because that's an ATST and... Oh, geez, I can't remember who that character is.
I think it's one of the Biker Scouts.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then... But Chewie's exposed, but again, Chewie shoots at anything that attacks him, so... And
covers 12.
Yeah, exactly. You're probably not getting overflowed with Chewie. So he's kind of safe to be alone, but probably if Chris had the Force, Leia would have moved over to join Chewie.
Mm-hmm. Jerry says it's Piet on the walker.
Piet, right, that's right.
Right. So is that Barrick? I always get these guys mixed up.
That is Barrick, yeah.
Woo!
Tempest got 6.
6.
Usually deployed as a react, but in a pinch, you can deploy it into your deploy phase. Interesting. Is that his battle? That would not have been the battle squad I'd want to send out Chewie. Oh no, he's not initiating. Wait, I don't know what's going on. He might have initiated against Rey?
Hoojix.
Yeah, Hoojix, he played the escape pod combo. Interesting, Greg, yeah, okay, he does grab the escape pod combo. That card, of course, being good in this match, not to pull the interrupts, but to suspend the occupation damage for a turn. And if Greg has any hope of winning this game, that will be why. Okay, Greg drawing
certainly something that can matter late game. And also, what else are you going to grab in this matchup? And Chris does play 3 of them.
Yeah, which Greg might not know about, but he now knows there's at least 2. Yeah, and Rey both die. Yeah, I think you kill Chewie here because then that lets you flip. But the rest of your ground is looking really weak at this point. Might want to be shuttling down one of these guys and say, I believe that's all of your space.
Well, Chris doesn't have another ship to threaten in space, but Greg doesn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
although if you see Rick in the Queen ship, what are you thinking about?
That can't be your only ship, right?
Right.
There's no way that's the best possible ship, because I didn't even know that card existed. That would be my thought. So yeah, I would.
Do you think he's playing home one in that situation? If you see that, because I don't think
that's
those ships go well
together. That's a good point. Yeah.
If I see Rick, I think probably no home one. And I haven't seen leaderships, and I haven't seen Akbars, and I've verified a couple of times.
I think that handshake was just saying goodbye to somebody who's leaving, and
Right, that was not a concession handshake.
No, not at all. I think, all right, well, might be controversial, but my idea of the protocol of this, instead of, everyone does this, where they go around and they make sure, oh, I must say goodbye to everyone. Just don't say good, just leave. And especially if they're playing a game, don't interrupt the game to say goodbye. Like, we'll see you at the next one.
I think you're half right. I certainly agree that you never should interrupt someone playing in the semis or in the finals of a major just to say goodbye. But I do like the idea that, you know, we're all one big family and we see each other 3-4 times a year, whatever it is, and you should, you know,
well, I also
go around when you're leaving and say goodbye to people.
I also believe in not saying goodbye to your family. Just like leave. Like you say hello, but why bother with that? You know, just nobody likes the rounds of, oh, we're leaving now, and half an hour later you're still saying goodbyes.
I guess.
At least I don't know. Maybe I'm projecting. I don't like that. I also especially hate because sometimes it happens like when I want to go to bed. I'm trying to go to sleep, and they're like, "Oh, we have to say goodbye."
Well, I feel like most of the goodbyes are, you know, in the afternoon on Sunday afternoon when people are on their way out. Everybody's in the game room. I certainly wouldn't, you know, come to your room and climb up to your bed while you were sleeping and wake you up and say, "Tom, I'm leaving."
Good, appreciate it.
Yep.
All right. So meanwhile, we've got now Jin's cover is broken.
Especially some of the players that you don't know when you're going to see them again. Some of the Europeans. You know, I haven't seen Jerry in years.
Has it been that long?
I don't even know when the last time I saw him was. Jerry, maybe you can tell me.
They're talking about other games. Ice Block, Lightning Bolt, Counter Spell.
MPC 2012. That sounds about right. That was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So I would definitely bolt Jin. I don't think anyone else on the board can be lightning bolted for Chris.
Yeah, in terms of value.
Yeah.
Ice Block, I don't see what Ice Block does at all in this game. Dead card here. Yeah, so this is what we were saying is, yeah, Greg may have flipped back, but he sacrificed all of his ground. He has nothing in terms of ground right now.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Chris Kelly easily flips back to the zero side and has much better board and has a massive hand.
I almost think that in a deck with 2 dominations and an occupation, or 2 occupations and a domination, however you're going to build the deck, it might almost be worth throwing some accelerates in there, just to make sure that you can find these cards. Because think about how much better of a position Greg would be in if he had occupation.
I've definitely thought about the accelerate. I think the force push is just a better way to find those cards. But yeah, I agree. I've definitely had games where, like, also Justice is a very important card.
Justice too.
Yeah, I think this past Worlds, I played Accelerate. Or maybe I played Accelerate in the team tournament, and then it occurred to me that Force Push is much better. But either way, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm not finding the effects, I need a way. So yeah, that's totally valid. I don't know what Chris Kelly's life force is here, but that hand is so big. I would almost be tempted to draw up as Greg right now, because I'm like, am I even getting through that entire hand? Is his life force ever going to be lower than it is right now? I know it's really early, but this might be the moment to draw up. Like, the board, I mean, watch him win this game after I say it, but...
Well, how much is he really retrieving?
Not much, but you could get some of that used, or... Yeah, you're right, probably. It's just, the situation looks so bad for Greg right now.
He's adding more up in space.
Oh, yeah, so that he can move Tarkin down.
So that he can move Tarkin down, right?
Yeah, because I was thinking, you're not winning the game by reinforcing space here.
Right.
But, yeah, no good battles here, and he's giving up drains of 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Well, he can pull... Does he have another pull? He's got resistance on the table. So 2 and 2.
Okay, 2 and 2. Still, that's pretty bad for him, for Greg.
But Chris has to pay for it. He certainly can,
true.
but it...
Yeah.
So Chris is going to play Hear Me Baby to get another shield.
Chris is not locking in force activation at the moment, though. Or ever this game.
Goldenrod just to guard against a possible Blizzard 4.
Yep, hasn't seen the Blizzard 4 yet this game. We activated 16 just there, and we have no idea how big the piles are. Like, it would be nice to have a basis of comparison, like how many cards in reserve. Okay, given the hand, the board, the last pile, I'm going to say Chris Kelly now has 25 life force. What do you think? Sound about right?
I'm going to go with 26 if we're doing this Price is Right style.
What a jerk. Well, there goes the trample. And a Biker Scout, which at least gives Greg some retreat.
I roll?
That's I roll, indeed.
I'm better at this than I thought.
Not bad, 2 for 2. And you got Elsic, I think.
Process of elimination on that one.
3 for 3. Well, no, Elsic was the first one deployed.
All right.
So you just need to correct it. Well, actually, I shouldn't tell you who the last Biker Scout that you're going to need to identify.
I suppose I played against a lot of Endor Ops and Entanglements in my day, because I've certainly never used those cards myself in a game, ever.
Oh, really? I don't know. Barrack is the all-star. Barrack is the reason to play any of them. So Hera attacking Emperor at the desert, which is interesting. Maybe Jin is about to move over there. Yeah, because Greg did manage to isolate Jin. The only place that she has to go is the desert. I don't know, but Jin just stays there. Chris presumably has a Hujix. I might try.
He didn't have to use the Hujix in the battle last time, and you saw him pull it out with the Escape Pod combo, so it's still in his hand.
Yeah. So this is Jin might be looking at facing down a Hujix, but I think Greg probably doesn't have enough life force to do all of the things that he wants to do here. His hand seems like it's too big in proportion to his life force at the moment. I don't see how he uses all of the cards.
If I were Chris, I almost want Greg to kill off Jin, because I want that peak. I want to be able to see what exactly he's working with, and that can help me sculpt the late game. He does have that's an Accelerate, right?
That was Accelerate, yep. So
yes,
he does play that.
He does have an Accelerate. There's the occupation.
Yep. But he
doesn't go for it.
No, he played it. He didn't have enough force active. He's just playing it to recycle it.
He's playing it to cycle.
Yeah. I mean, right now he's pretty far away from getting to a position where he can use occupation. He needs to flip before occupation starts kicking in, and we're not living in a world where in the next 2 turns Greg is going to be flipped during his control phase. If ever. Okay, anyway, Greg's still contemplating his options.
Greg plays 1 Accelerate in his list. I think that's a good number.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wouldn't want to go 2. One does make sense to me, especially given that he plays domination.
I appreciate that you've got Dave and Jerry on in the background so that I can hear what's going on in the game while I do this.
Yeah, home run just now from Jackie Bradley.
Killer bees.
Did you watch the game on Fox like a week ago where Don Orsillo was doing the cast?
No, I didn't.
That was great. I've missed Don Orsillo.
Is that like a national televised game? I thought he was with the Padres now.
Yeah, but I guess he did the game for Fox. It
I
wasn't
love
even
Don
against the
Orsillo.
Padres.
I'm a big Dave O'Brien fan, but he's not Don Orsillo.
Not even close. I'm not a Dave O'Brien fan at all.
I think he's coming into his own with the Sox. He was fantastic as both a national analyst and he's one of my favorite college basketball analysts.
Yeah, I don't watch college basketball.
And I have a soft spot for him because...
Who is that? Who just deployed to fight Philo?
To fight Philo? Looks like... All right, it's a Biker Scout, so I'm going to have to get this one again. It is Barrick.
Nope.
Elsek.
That is Elsek, indeed. I don't know who the first one was, though, actually. I was looking at the Red Sox. Oh, that looks like Veers, because he's got...
That is Veers. He got the Veers back.
Yeah, he got the Veers with the blue things drawn on him. So
Dave O'Brien, fun fact, if I can just go back for a second,
go right ahead.
Is the commentator in High Heat Baseball 2002.
Is that a video game?
Which is one of the best... it was a really, really bad console game, but it was one of the best baseball PC games ever made.
Oh, wait, Philo doesn't make herself immune.
No, Philo doesn't make herself immune.
Okay, so Philo still dies here.
Yeah, wait, he's gonna leave.
He forfeits Veers as opposed to Elsek? That was a 5, right?
Yeah.
And why would he...
Either one.
Yeah, why would he choose to forfeit?
Elsek's forfeit 5, right?
Yeah, with IAO, which he plays.
Yeah.
I'm surprised about that decision.
Maybe he thinks that the Biker Scouts are now more valuable without an AT-AT on the board?
Maybe. I just don't see... Yeah, I guess Barrick... Is Barrick piloting that Tempest... Yeah, Barrick's piloting the Tempest Scout 1, so that must be what he's thinking. Or Blizzard Scout 1. So we've got a... Okay, wow, some stuff just happened. All right, so I think there was... Wait, what? Just... Okay, whoa. I cannot follow what just happened.
There was a close call getting sensed.
But there was a You Do Have Your Moments. All right, so the You Do Have Your Moments was played, used to effectively cancel one of the destinies because Greg didn't have enough left in reserve. And then the close call, I guess, came out on the light side destiny, which I didn't see what it was. That was sensed. He lost 2 to the sense. And then one of those being the You Do Have Your Moments. The other one must have been the battle destiny. And then Tarkin died. So he must have drawn the 6. Drawn a 7? Did he draw a 7? What happened there? And why is Elsek... I mean, I guess this makes sense. Yeah, so he wanted to preserve the Barrick Elsek. But Barrick should be the one piloting the Blizzard Scout 1 here, because Elsek doesn't add to its power. And yeah, it didn't have enough light. Like I said, it didn't have enough life force to contest all the locations. So Hera just kind of chills in front of Emperor, even though Greg is advantaged at the location, just didn't have enough to battle all of them.
What's this?
That was maybe Tarkin's orders? Command, okay.
And there's Veers again, so he got Veers back.
Yeah, must have retrieved Veers with the Domination. Mm-hmm. Maybe Domination keeps Greg in this game, because it's not like Chris is doing a ton of... The thing is, he's just going to keep on falling behind on board, I think.
He got Philo off the table, which was the biggest threat.
Yeah,
that's what was really doing damage to him every turn. Now...
It's just Luke. Oh, but here comes Qui-Gon.
Be bad if he can hit the Emperor. I don't think Greg has a Hujix.
No, generally... I does not play that card.
And solo.
So this is potentially a game-ending battle here.
Greg's reaching for something.
He wants to make him pay 1 to fire.
Pay 1 to fire weapons. We don't know how much force Chris has. I assume if Greg is playing that card, Chris has 1 force left at this point.
Or he's just playing it because he has nothing better to do, and
That's fair. Chris is counting piles that certainly have cards in them, so maybe not.
There might be an indication that the players think this game is about to be over.
Or Chris could just be shuffling his fingers. We don't know.
No, there were cards in there. The sense
maybe not, because he's going to try to sense the I can't shake him.
Was that sense from hand, or was that a sense destiny draw? It's hard to tell. Wait.
It's his hand. Now he's backing off. He's thinking about it.
Okay. Sense is probably not the card you want to show your opponent you have. You want to really commit to the sense before you put that one on the table.
Well, what can Greg do about it?
That's a good point.
So he knows Chris has the sense, so what?
Yeah, true.
If this were Greg's turn, then you certainly don't want to commit to it. But this is Chris's turn, and Chris is going to be the one to force the action, sense or no sense.
I'll probably sense something. I don't know. So Blizzard Scout 1 costs a force to, and that might be why he keeps Barrick out instead of Elsic, so that Elsic can be the one react. All right, who did you draw for Destiny?
Is that some biker scout? Destiny 2, probably.
Destiny, yeah, that's
Stalozin.
It does have a kick.
That's a kick.
And Stalozin, who's actually Destiny 3. Yeah, that's all of them, at least in the standard build. Okay, yeah, just great. This is hopeless for Greg. But he had the Gick, but I mean, even with the Gick.
Yeah, even with the Gick, it's not much he can do.
So I guess he must have hit the edge.
We're pretty close to time, though. We timed to an hour 15.
Hour 15.
Okay. So we're about 10 minutes away from time, and maybe if Greg can just keep playing and keep staying alive through domination, he can make the differential smaller.
It's true. That's totally a valid game plan.
And he can certainly do that without having to stall out. I mean, there are plays that he can make. He can just keep the game going.
Right, of course. Yeah, the way to do it properly is you play the game so that the game state takes longer to resolve, but you don't play at a pace different than you would otherwise would had you not been you don't play the game slower than you would under normal circumstances. It's like that's the way to try to time out a game without actually stalling. Man, that's a totally valid strategy, and I haven't played that before. Time is unfortunately a part of the game, and it's something you need to take advantage of as a player. All right, Greg. I mean, he probably has a pretty profitable battle here against Leia. He's got the Biker Scout pair, which can reduce to 0 the attrition. Wait, what's this? Is that a verification? Mm-hmm. That's a lot of cards in reserve. Why is he keeping that many cards in reserve? Presumably he could activate as many as he wants.
Maybe he has more life force than we realize.
I don't think so. There's a lot of cards in that last pile. Oh.
He's been retrieving with domination. He had a couple of turns where he was retrieving with the objective.
The darkness and the black sleeves are really messing with our ability to know what's going on in terms of life force counts.
I agree with you. This is a profitable battle against Leia.
Especially now that Mara comes out.
Not going to lose anything. Mara comes down. I mean, Greg knows about the Hujix that's still in Chris's hand. Maybe at least you make it burn through that.
Yeah.
And I guess that was why all the cards in reserve, because you wanted to be able to swing and then draw and possibly have to deal with redraws and whatnot. But
yeah, so like 5 is probably the maximum you keep, and that looked like 7 or 8.
I think it was 6. 5 for Chris.
Okay, so we're seeing... Well, I didn't see what... Chris just drew a 5?
Chris just drew a 5 for Battle Destiny.
So it looks like they're going to have to actually forfeit a Biker Scout, and he does indeed forfeit Elsik. And the Hujix is employed, as we expected.
But he gets the Hujix out of the way at a point where now Chris has nothing else on the battlefield that can really get beaten down. I mean, before, when he had Jin at one site and Philo at a site and Leia at a site, you thought maybe there were multiple opportunities to maybe burn through the Hujix somewhere and then cause overflow somewhere else. Now you really don't have those opportunities.
That's true. But, I mean, one other thing that this lets him do is move the ATSC to the Water's Junkyard. That's not a play that wins the game, but it's a play that might cut diff a little bit.
He's one site away. He needs some way to clear one more site, and he probably doesn't have
it. But, that's never going to happen.
One site at a time, I guess.
I mean, this game is definitely over from the perspective of Chris has won this game. Greg's question is, how little can I make him win it by? Because Chris has won the game, but the match is still up in the air. So that's the important thing here. If it was Swiss, we might have already seen Greg scoop these up.
Jerry makes a good point that domination's back on now.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, counting for domination. I remember having to do that.
Back when Rops was still a deck.
Yeah. Domination and Elor's Madoc are like the two most... Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4... Okay.
5 alien species?
Yeah, and he's just like, okay, Corellians, Elduros, whatever Talz is, yeah, stuff like that. And then you're like, wait, we forgot about,
I cannot tell you the number of times I asked someone, is human a species during a game of Star Wars CCG?
Corellians are basically the human species, but not all humans are Corellians. Although, I wonder if Alderaanians count as species. We never really had anything that keyed off of Alderaanians before.
Is Leia technically an Alderaanian? Is that...
She is an Alderaanian, yeah.
All versions, the way that all Hans are Corellians, or all Leias Alderaanians?
I believe that might be an AR entry.
I don't think... I've certainly never heard it.
They definitely are. Maybe they all actually just have Alderaanian in their text. Or something. Probably not. Or in their lore, rather. Alright, so we've got Grand Admiral Thrawn joining Mara, trying to swing at Luke, but Blaster
Deflection, maybe? Chris has had a lot of false starts on his interrupts.
Good point. But yeah, he's doing the Blaster Deflection, of course.
Well, did he play it? It looked like he put it back in his hand, or maybe he just put it in that invisible used pile. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I think it's in the invisible used pile. As our
he's gonna... There's... Okay.
Yeah,
sorry about the mess on Thrawn.
Yeah, he definitely Blaster Deflection.
It was hard to tell what was coming out of his hand and what was coming off the top of his reserve deck.
I kind of wonder why you bother sorry about the messing there. How does that make any difference? Sorry about the messing Thrawn.
Doesn't.
I guess in this case he would have got an overflow if he didn't. So 5, 6, 11 to 8, 9, 10. So he still has one overflow. It would have been 2 more, but those 2 force are sorry about the mess and the card he lost.
But then you swing for... Why wouldn't you swing for Mara in that case?
Because he wasn't sure he'd hit her.
It's 5 versus 4.
Yeah, the sorry about the mess was a strange play, I think. Oh, so is he adding 3? Or no, he must be withdrawing. But you're playing that lost? With Solo. Oh, he's playing it with Solo.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So I guess it just saves him 1 force. Yeah, I mean, at this point, yeah, he just wants to save himself 1 force because he's not going to get a better use out of Solo other than gaining 1 life force, and 1 life force might be big in the match. Yeah, so I guess that's why you sorry about the mess. You just, it's not going to do anything in your hand anyway.
Well, you're losing 2 life force to sorry about the mess, and that's what Thrawn's power is.
Yeah, well, you're losing 2 hand force to sorry about the mess.
But you could lose those from battle damage anyway.
That's a good point. But maybe cause battle damage also?
Well, you're not going to overthrow Mara if you haven't swung at her.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the Sorry About the Mess was doing. Was this time, possibly? But, yeah, it's time, because Greg would take the last turn in time.
Yeah.
Because, Throne Room went first.
Did we see a Walkling ditch at any point?
We must. I don't see Walkling out.
I don't see it on the table.
Okay, yeah, they're counting piles. So, yeah, they managed to take it to time.
We will find out in a second what the result of the pile count is here.
Domination retrieval. Yep. Good call, Mike. He wanted to make sure that Chris Kelly didn't win the battle. Or he wanted to make sure Greg Shaw didn't win the battle and retrieve
right.
an Imperial. Yep. You're absolutely right.
So as soon as we know... I mean, Chris Kelly won the game, but as soon as we know by how much, we will let you know.
Wait, this is not Pistone.
It's not Pistone.
Who are you?
I think that was the bracket that Robbie put on the screen, but we didn't see what it said.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Twitch feed. I still can't read it.
It's the top 4, but...
Yeah,
Yeah, we can't read that paper. Maybe when it comes on the Twitch feed.
There's no way I mean, it's just sat on the table. I see top 4, but yeah, there's no way to read something like that with the resolution that we have on this camera. All right, well, you guys will probably find out at the same time as we do what the result is. I need to take a 5 or so minute break, and I'll be back.
All right, I've reached out to Robbie, who is the tournament director. I need some clarification. Oh, we're getting slightly better resolution here, maybe? Briefly. We sort of saw the paper for a minute. Just bear with us. We will get you the results. All right, here we go. So it was Chris Kelly won that game by 7. So a good job by Greg to really limit the differential there in a game where he was behind most of the time, and what really could have been a much worse loss likely would have been if the game had gone to time. Looks like 22 cards in the lost pile for Chris Kelly and 30 for Greg Shaw. The next game is Scum against Throne Room. I would guess that Scum and Chris are advantaged when it comes to lost piles, so Greg likely needing to win the next game by 8. And Scum and Throne Room is I think Throne Room might have a slight edge in that matchup, but it's a fairly even matchup that's going to come down to play skill. Greg is certainly experienced playing with Scum, and he's very experienced playing with Throne Room, so maybe give the matchup edge to Greg there, but I guess we'll see. Player's going to take a couple of minutes, shuffle up, and we'll get going in game 2. here at the semifinals of the 2017 United States National Championship. We will be back in just a few minutes. And we're getting ready for Game 2 here of this semifinal matchup between Greg Shaw and Chris Kelly here at 2017 U.S. National Championship from the Wyndham-Pittsburgh University Center in lovely Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I am Casey Annis here, joined by Tom Kelly. And for this matchup, Greg is going to be playing Jakku Careful Planning Virtual, starting the starting Interrupt Careful Planning Virtual, which lets him deploy a system, a related site, and 3 effects. He's starting Walkling, Like My Father Before Me, both of which you saw Chris Kelly play in Game 1. He's also starting You've Got a Lot of Guts Coming Here, which is a fun little tech card, very good against Chris's deck. Chris is playing Court of the Vile Gangster with Scum and Villainy, one of the all-time classic Star Wars CCG deck archetypes, going back to Jabba's Palace in 1998, Scum and Villainy. It's an alien-focused deck using Jabba the Hutt and friends. If you're not familiar with You've Got a Lot of Guts Coming Here, this is an effect from Coruscant, even though it depicts Lando and Han from Empire Strikes Back. What it says is, while Han is at a battleground, opponent retrieves no force from Scum and Villainy. So if Greg can keep Han out of battleground, site, or system, Chris will not be able to utilize the retrieval text on Scum and Villainy. He will get to deploy all of his aliens for -1, however. Let's take a look at the deck list
presumably in
each of
Greg's
these
deck.
players are using. And Tom, if you're back,
I am.
you can feel
Can you
free
hear
to
me?
hop in at any point.
Wait, can you hear me? Hello?
First up for Chris Kelly, who did win the first game of this match by 7 force. Greg Shaw needs to win this game by 8 force in order to take the match.
Can you hear me?
Chris starts Court of the Vile Gangster along with the Great Pit of Carcoon, the Dungeon, and the Audience Chamber. And his 3 effects are Battle Plan and Battle Order and First Strike, Wipe Them Out, all of them, and Jabba's Haven, a flash of the hand from Chris. I see Snuva, Jabba, We Must Accelerate Our Plans. Here's a look at Greg's hand, Home 1, Chewie, Escape Pod, Launching the Assault, All Wings Combo, Battle Order, First Strike, and I didn't see the last card.
Testing? Hello? Do you hear me?
Appears we might be having some technical difficulties on Tom's end.
Hello? What's going on here? All right, All right, can you hear me now?
Okay, so it looks like Tom is coming through in the stream, and it looks like I'm coming through in the stream as well, but we can't hear each other. It's a little odd.
That is very strange. We should just keep on doing this and just independently commentate, both of us.
No, because now we can hear
I can hear Casey. Oh, wait, you can hear me now?
I can hear you now.
What? That was very strange. Okay.
That was odd.
All right. Well, hello. Yeah, I was just saying the guts in Greg's list, obviously in here exactly for this game.
Yes, it's 100% the tech card. I said that too. Could you hear me before?
Yeah, I could. Well, I just, wanted to clarify. It wasn't even it's not like an all-purpose tech card. It's I'm playing this because of Court Scum tech card, and looks like it's worked out for him. Lenny played Court Scum yesterday too, I think, so
that was certainly a deck that we expected to see well represented this weekend, and it has been.
Has definitely been. It's the deck we saw on stream the most by far. I'd be willing to bet that it was the deck that was most represented in terms of the whole field. Anyway, Chris getting off to... What did we find out about the differential for that first one?
It was +7 for Chris Kelly.
Wow, that's it.
That's it.
That was closer than we thought, for sure, I think. So, really, it's up to this game. And so far, we've seen Court dominate in every time it's faced up against light mains of any kind.
Turn 1 Jabba.
Yep.
Scum and Villainy, active on turn 1.
And a lot of times, players can just do Jabba and Scum, and they kind of just sit tight with that as their play. Run a lot of times barriers and stunning leaders to protect Jabba. And even if they don't, the light side player has to be afraid that they have it. And even if they don't have it or aren't afraid, there's always, a handful of aliens that can come down and attack and reprisal. And
I have to say, a start like this is why is when I really, really wish that I was going first as the light side player.
I agree with you. I think, especially in this match, I feel like there are many good players that are on the other side of this debate, but it seems to me like Throne Room would be just so much better here.
If Greg is playing Throne Room, Chris is not playing Turn 1 Jabba.
It makes it a lot riskier, for sure. We've seen Turn 1 Jabba come out against Throne Room even as well. But it definitely is more likely to be punished. But yeah, it would have been really funny what I was saying, I guess, before you could actually hear me. What if we just couldn't hear... Well, I could hear you. But it would be really funny if we couldn't hear each other and just both talk the whole time.
That would be a real test of teamwork and communication skills.
Just have to mind meld. It's the only way.
All right, let's see what Greg can do now. Chris also with 3 extra locations out on that turn as well, so the Jakku deck, which typically, like Throne Remains, relies on a force generation advantage, it's being out-activated, it's being out-board controlled. Greg's in a tough spot before he's even done anything.
Yeah, turn 1 is where you really weigh the options, and I don't know. We haven't seen any Twix pulls.
That hand is not spectacular. He doesn't have Twix pullers. He's got Launching the Assault and Home 1 in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Battle Order First Strike, which, that's not a card. That's a card that you typically start over Guts, but it's not even a card that you really want to have in hand if you've elected not to start it.
Yeah, well, it's not horrible here.
It's not awful, but it's not a card that's going to impact the board here.
Yeah, that's true. That's much. What he really wants.
At least not the first strike.
But it's good. It gives him the free battles. It gives him, makes them pay 1. And Core is a deck that will play battles or play interrupts during the opponent's battle. So it chokes.
It's certainly a card that you want out, but it doesn't do anything to stop the early pressure that Chris is putting on Greg at the moment.
Right.
And you could say that, yes, it makes Chris pay to drain, and it saves Greg a shield pull, but Greg really could just pull the Battle Order shield if he wanted to.
Well, Battle Order is out. So that's moot.
Oh, because Chris starts it.
Right. So Greg looking for the Hoojix here.
It's really a suboptimal card in this situation.
Yeah, it's just really, it saves force on the battles, and you play it for sure. Before your first battle, obviously. No sense playing it before then, but you don't hate having it. It's probably not what you're looking for in your opening hand.
Right.
What you're looking for in an opening hand, of course, mostly activation. Activation. And that's, I'm sure Greg is now counting every Twix puller in his reserve deck, every Twix. And if there are enough of them so that he can draw into them, he probably just draws this turn.
If you are a light side mains player, or even a dark side mains player, your goal on turn 1 is to determine what every card in your force pile is.
Yeah, I think just no matter what you're playing, that's pretty much your goal. Watch your step. That's pretty much my first turn. Do a bunch of, looks back through, try to figure out process of elimination based on what's in my reserve deck,
the added
what's in the
helper
force
of being
pile.
able to tunnel vision your force pile and just take whatever you want that way.
Right. When you have tunnel vision, it also becomes, like, if there's something you really want, like if you first turn, that's easy. It's like, you're like, oh, Lost Nexus Chamber is inactive. I kind of spend a little bit less time looking through my reserve trying to figure out what's in my force pile because I already know I'm tunnel visioning. So, there's that.
And Chris is going to get an early verify here.
Yeah, that's probably some. You probably just search for Luke's lightsaber or something, just to see what's in the reserve deck. No, obviously, he couldn't play Luke's lightsaber, but it is legal to search for Luke's lightsaber even if you don't have a character on table. So that's probably what Greg did just to find out.
Nothing too special in Greg's list.
Okay. And Chris's too is standard, would you say?
Let me go back to the list. Late edition of Projective Telepathy for Chris. Nice little blowout card. He took out Dr. Avazon for that.
And one of the favorite cards of our Polish friend Cryptophis. Mm-hmm. Number of times he's gotten me with that.
The character package seems pretty standard. The two ofs are Boba Fett Bounty Hunter, Greedo Virtual, and EPP Forlome. Everything else is a one of.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Has a lateral damage, which would be good against Home 1.
Yeah, that's true.
Especially there's another drawback of the Jakku deck. It starts a system, and now 2 systems. So you've got a lateral damage target.
Yeah. So we see Greg just saving, looks like maybe 7 force, 8 force. I feel like if he had a Twix or a Twix puller in the force pile, he would have drawn for it. Maybe he found it in like the 1 or 2 he drew, or maybe there wasn't one. But either way, saving force against Court, like Justin was saying yesterday, often a very strong play. But you don't do
Always.
it.
They have so many interrupts that can hurt you in battle. There is an I Can't Shake Him in Chris's list, so important to save force for that.
Yeah.
2 hidden. I'm going to go through all of Projective Telepathy we talked about. I'm going to go through all of Chris's interrupts.
Go right ahead.
Just because Scum is such an interrupt-focused deck. Projective Telepathy, I Can't Shake Him. They're still coming through. Cold Feet, Ellis Hellrot, 2 copies of Ceasefire, 2 copies of Hidden Weapons, 2 copies of Imperial Barrier, 3 Accelerates, 2 Gick combos.
The Accelerates, really? That's unusual, right? Does Court usually play Accelerates for the bridge?
Well, it does. I think it.
Maybe it does.
Yeah, because you got to pull the activation. You get Null Huddy, you get the docking bays, but you need a little bit more activation. And if you play 1 Twix.
Yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right. Yeah.
You can also get lateral damage in a pinch.
Right.
Second Scum, if you don't have Jabba.
We saw Greg earlier make a play where we saw this match earlier with Greg at the helm, and he made a play where he played Leia to the Omni Chamber to cancel all of the ability there because they're only aliens, and then canceled the Scum, and then really didn't do much else. And we were saying at the time that we were not very big fans of that play. And I think I heard that he said so afterwards, that he thought that was a mistake.
I tend to agree with that. One of the things about this list that surprises me, and I'm not sure if this is the standard or not, I was kind of expecting Chris to be playing... He's playing Slave 1 and Django and Boba, but he's playing Boba Fett Bounty Hunter over the new Boba Fett. And I thought one of the big advantages that Scum gained in the last set was new virtual Boba Fett who can tutor for a card.
I mean, I think just Boba Fett Bounty Hunter is so powerful, especially in Scum, that you have to still play him. I can see, like, in TTO, it makes sense to me to switch to the Boba Fett B, but you'll often want Boba Fett on the ground, and Boba Fett on the ground in maintenance Boba Fett on the ground is much better than... Alright, anyway, we've got action here. Looks like Chewie now going down to the audience chamber.
Mm-hmm. And you know who else we're not seeing in this list? Two of the old school mainstays of Scum and Villainy. No Ethan Mon, no Bolo.
Yeah, those are, you generally will only see them in the Power of the Hut lists. So Tom Haid was playing those two yesterday. But the standard Ryan Jellison-ish court lists have not been playing those two.
I obviously don't have a ton of experience with this build. You would be hard pressed to talk me into a Scum deck without Bolo. Ethan Mon I could see, but
yeah,
having the ability to cancel Battle Destinies at the audience chamber is just too good.
No, it is true, and that might just be something that should be played. I don't have a ton of experience with it, but so what just happened there?
So we saw Ray and Chewie come down, and then we saw the use pile search for Ray.
Yeah, but it looked like Chris did something.
He played. He played an interrupt, but I didn't get a good look at it.
Yeah, maybe he buried Ray after the use pile search.
It's possible. It
Greg's
almost looked like they're still coming through. Or no, it was certainly barrier because there's Greg setting Ray to the side, and now Luke coming down.
Yeah. And he's got no force left, but he can play the battle plan for a free battle, and he can get a force back in his force pile with Like the Father Before Me. Put a card
pulls out the lightsaber. I would certainly rather have Bolo than, say, the second Greedo, for instance.
See, I don't know enough about it to tell you why you're wrong, but I'm just assuming that you are.
I mean, Ryan Jellison is a much better player than I am. Certainly has more experience with Scum than I do, so I'm assuming I'm wrong here, but
yeah, I don't know enough about Court to tell you why. But I'm assuming Ryan has played with that card and decided that there was a reason not to have it in. But, I mean, like we said, we did see Tom Haid play both Bolo and... Wait, did he play FMon? He definitely played Bib. Maybe we never saw FMon yesterday. He definitely had a Gaba Sail Barge version.
But the idea that just because you can't pull any of those characters doesn't mean that none are worthy of inclusion on their own.
Right, he's so good.
They're great characters. That's why you play Power of the Hut. It doesn't just let you pull any characters, it lets you pull great characters.
Yeah. So we've got...
there's Battle Plan. Yeah. So free battles.
And the Weapon Love Shield. We saw... Was it Greg? Somebody got burned by that yesterday. But
Chris doesn't play Weapon Lev, but it's still pretty huge.
Yeah, I mean, Jasper and Java both have the capability.
This looks like it's going to be a ceasefire here. Or it's Greedo.
Greedo coming out.
Zuckuss.
That's the last force. So now that means that Greg can only swing at one character, because he has to spend one to pay for Greedo to fire the weapon. And if he does that, that also means that's his last force for next turn. He can't play interrupts next turn. If Greedo comes back, Greedo doing a lot of work right now. That was a fantastic react here.
And I suppose you're going to tell me that that's why you play two Greedos.
That's probably why you play two Greedos.
But in a deck that already has two ceasefires and a projective telepathy, I just like the idea of, all right, you've taken care of the weapons aspect of the battle, now take care of the
Greedo
aspect.
His ceasefire is it affects both sides. What was the word I'm looking for? Whereas Greedo just affects light side.
Is there anyone there with a weapon? I guess Forlom, but that's not really.
Yeah, I mean it's true. Weapon. I mean in general, not in this case. It's not very big.
No, I certainly understand what you're saying, but very, very few weapons overall in Chris's list.
Yeah. So the swing, it's basically forcing the swing to go at Greedo, because otherwise he gets no swings next turn. And now probably the Battle Destinies.
There are 3
Chris
characters.
gets 2, and
weapons.
Greg gets 1.
Alright, 4 for Greg. Chris has the other Greedo.
No, that's Ponda Baba.
Or that's Ponda Baba.
And Django.
So 3.
So 5 total. Or no. 3, 4. Django's a 1, yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. Either way, I assume...
Ponda a 2?
Ponda's a 3.
3.
So I assume that...
They inflated Destiny values
here.
even back in Premiere.
I don't know if that's possible to inflate Destiny values in Premiere. Inflated from what?
Greg gonna lose Chewie.
Oh, apparently Jerry Rimmer's surgery is tomorrow. Anyway.
I like losing Chewie here. I don't know about you. No escape for Greedo.
Well, I mean, his only other option was losing Luke, so... Yeah, especially with 4 lives.
Oh, because Rey had been buried, right?
Yeah. So yeah, he no escapes for Greedo, but he could also... Oof, and here's where, I mean, in addition to making him pay the 1 to fire and not being able to fire now he can't play interrupts. This is looking...
Battle Destiny coming for...
Yeah, this is looking like the court games we've seen all along against mains.
On top of it.
Yeah, the main tries to attack, court stifles the attack, and then does this, and who cares whether you retrieve any force or scum when this happens?
You can see it in Bosk. You can see the way that Greg is shuffling his hand. He knows that there's not much he can do in this spot.
There's literally nothing he can do. Like, every action is foreclosed from him. So he just has to wait and take whatever Chris can dish out. And Chris has no incentive to hold back.
Oh,
that's if hidden weapons hits on Luke here, that's a 4, so a break for Greg.
That would have certainly been game over. It still might be.
Yeah.
Let's start. So Luke is 8, Rey is 4, 12 to...
A lot. I don't know if he doubled anyone's power or not. That's fine.
And I'm just going to say, you know what Bolo could do here?
18. Yeah, he can cancel the Destiny, that's true.
Cancel that.
That was a dejected flip, that Destiny. I think, which is a 6, probably raised King Texas canceled, so we've got 8, 12, 18, so 3, 5, 8, 15, 19. Who's that other character?
It's Bosk, Cad Bane, Greedo, Boba.
Cad Bane. Oh, Cad Bane. Okay, so... Alright, let's count this again. So 3, 6, 10, 18, 22, 27. Presumably he doubles Bosk's power, so 32 plus...
I think he would double Boba's power.
No, you can't double the power of a maintenance character.
Okay.
And he drew, what was the Destiny? 6, 5...
5.
1, 3 or something like that?
Something like that.
So we had 32, 38...
6, 5, 4...
Okay,
3.
there it is. 6, 5, 4, 3, which is 11, 15, 18. So 32 plus 18 is 50. So it's 50 to 17. We've got coverage of 16, so that's them in 17. That's got to be game.
That's probably game. I mean, this is the part where if I were on Holotable, I would...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in a Swiss event, you definitely scoot. I mean, the other thing is Greg needs to win this game.
He needs to win by 8.
Yeah, he doesn't... It's not just, like, he needs to lose by a little bit. That's, yeah. Yeah, this is why Greedo, like Kesa says. Greedo is amazing. Justin says that Greg is not following the plan that he told him to implement. But he had a tough time with the plan because, I mean, I'm assuming the plan involved having activation advantage. And he got no luck whatsoever getting his activation.
Whoa. Well, you say Greedo's amazing. What did Greedo really stop him from doing that would have mattered power-wise in that battle? He stopped him from swinging, sure, but it's not like he could play Sorry About the Mess or something. Bolo would have stopped Greg's Destiny and added another 5 to the battle damage.
Greedo was a million times better than Boilo here, because he stopped 2 swings on the previous turn, so that's an extra character that would be dead. And because he needed to fire the weapon at someone, he couldn't play an interrupt here, and maybe he even has Hoojix. Even if you have Hoojix in hand, you have to swing that turn. So yeah, he stopped weapon swings and interrupts plays. Yeah, I think that's why what Jerry says is why you don't play Boyle, because if you're fighting over the Onion Chamber, you're probably in a good spot already, and yeah, he's one more. So Greg is soldiering on, toughing it out, losing what we think is 17. And, well, I mean, I don't know what the silver lining is here, but Greg continues play.
I don't see a reason to scoop.
Yeah, there's no added value in scooping this. As long as there's a 1% chance that you can win, you might as well keep on playing. And he still does have a lot of life force. Remember, it's Throne Room. He didn't start a ton of cards on the table or anything. So,
it's not Throne Room. If it was Throne Room, I'm not sure he would have been in that position.
Oh, right. Jakku. Yeah. But either way, there's not like a 10-card objective start or anything.
There's Anakin down to the pit. Joined by Ray. Another use pile search coming up. Ray gets to start over. Let's see what he can put together. Didn't get a great look at what he took. You see his hand now. He thumbed a Luke. Or is that might have been his use pile. Looks like he took Luke out of the use pile.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I think that might be it.
I believe he placed 2 copies of the lightsaber.
Yeah, I saw a second one somewhere in like the reserve or something, I think. Well, no, he's using Walkling to get the Luke's lightsaber back, so...
It's possible that the second copy was somewhere in those 17 Force.
That is true.
Chris is going to use Nal Hutta's text on his turn. Look for a bounty. I don't know if you agree with me, but Chris's next move seems to be that he should try to get at least some type of presence in space. He does know about one.
He has to. But he's not winning this game without... I don't even know.
He top decked Zuckuss, although Zuckuss doesn't do too much against Home 1. He's still got 3 ships left over. Even Maul's Sith Infiltrator would probably be enough. I don't think Greg has a way to stop the cloaking. And even if he decides he does want Zuckuss back, he can get it back with Jabba's Haven.
Right, because he didn't even have to burn the Jabba's Haven to get Greedo back. He just no-escaped Greedo. Okay, let's see.
He's committed to Boba Fett on the ground, so maybe Slave 1 isn't the best option. It's probably Ellis and Ponda Baba. Who you want in space?
Yeah, Ellis, Ponda Baba, Woof, things like that. Which, I mean, that's scary too. That's like basically 2 destinies plus 2. But the court destiny isn't super high. I think Chris drew above average in that battle. So. Well, we do see the home one in the hand. Yeah, I think he needs to set up the space here too.
Oh, of course he can't cloak the Sith Infiltrator because he can't play Maul. But
right, of course.
It's just in there. It's a Destiny 6 independent starship.
Yeah. Wait, what's going on here?
He could play Maul, supposedly, but he does not play Maul.
Oh, they never changed the names of... Okay, yeah. Great guy is on Light Jakku Mains with Chris Kelly playing Scum. Court.
Dark Court Scum.
There we go.
As opposed to Light Court Scum.
Well, just always make sure there's got dark and light going on.
Agreed. There's Luke with the lightsaber from reserve.
Yeah, so waiting one more turn maybe on the space deploy.
He's in no rush.
Yeah, I mean, if he can set up drains of 2 and 2 versus Chris's 1, that early deficit that he found himself in, he can erase that pretty quickly. Of course, Chris had to play a lot more cards to the table in order to accomplish that. Like, Chris has committed more to the table at this point than Greg has. Actually, not by a ton. Maybe just by virtue of the fact that Chris found his activation and Greg did not. He's got the extra...
Had a lot to do with it. Certainly limited his options.
So, yeah, maybe he goes to space and the battle point. That might be a little bit too thin to spread. Looks like we see that Reed won the first game by 16.
Yes.
5 minutes left in game 2 for Reed. It must be for Reed. Because
if you don't, like, I have a lot of people in my phone.
Clearly, there's no way this game is anywhere close to time.
All right, I just want to get a clarification. What Robbie had texted me before.
All right, hold on 1 sec, sorry, Casey.
Okay. There's a little confusion as to whether Chris won the first game by 7 or by 8. So we're going to try to figure that out.
All right, sorry, I'm back. What were you saying?
There's some slight confusion as to whether Chris won the first game by 7 or by 8.
Oh, I see.
What Robbie had texted initially was Kelly by 7, Kelly 22, Shaw 30, and I assumed that those were the lost pile counts. But Robbie just posted in the chat different, or maybe what Robbie just posted are the current lost pile counts.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Oh wait, okay. No, the lost pile. He wanted to count the lost piles.
No, and there's no way that Chris has 16 in his lost pile right now, or that Shaw has 34. So those were the lost pile counts from the last game, meaning that 30 to 22 may have been the difference, may have been the life force counts when time was called in the last game, and that, of course, is a difference of 8. So one of those things.
Wait, I'm looking at the chat. Where are you saying 30 to 22?
That's what Robbie texted me at the end of the first game.
Oh, I see.
He texted Kelly by 7, 30 to 22, and because 30 and 22 is a difference of 8, I had assumed that the 30 to 22 was the lost pile count, but if it was actually the differential, then there was a typo somewhere, and Chris either won by 7 or by 8. We just need to clarify that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Anyway, back to this action. Chris just looks
Why does
like
Tom Kelly always play Watch Your Step and Imperial Entanglements?
Because they're good
Because those are
decks.
the only cards that people let him borrow.
Nah, but they're good decks. I like playing the same decks. As long as they're good. So yeah, only a few minutes left in the Reed Smith Matt Scott match. That one should be wrapping up shortly. This one, maybe not as over as we thought, given that Rob just said they're pretty close in terms of life force.
Well, Scum put so many cards on the table, but of course it retrieves the cards it sends to the lost pile.
Yeah, well, not if Han's on the table, but we haven't seen Han yet. So Guts hasn't done anything at all this game. That's kind of the thing about Guts, is I'm not too crazy about that card. It only stops the retrieval, which isn't that integral to the game plan, and it only does it if Han is up.
I like it in other decks. I like it in Watch Your Step, for instance, but not necessarily in a reactive mains deck.
Yeah. I've heard about Diplo using it in order to even up the match. And by the way, here comes EPP Mara to the Jedi Council chambers. This is technically vulnerable to simple tricks and nonsense, but Greg has pulled
you
all
assume
of the
that
shields.
he's going to go to a second battleground also. I don't know if I like this play. This seems kind of like reaching.
Well, I mean, here's the other thing, is that Greg doesn't have a shield pull left.
That's true.
Simple tricks and nonsense isn't necessarily going to hit the table here.
That wasn't... I meant more the idea of committing a lone ground character and possibly asking for trouble.
I like the play. I like the play. Because if Greg commits a bunch of ground characters to going to Coruscant here, how is he ever winning? Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't, how is he winning? I mean, I think this puts him in a really tough spot unless he can get the simple tricks. Unless he has a way to pull a shield. So I think it's a good heads-up play by Chris here.
Let's take a look at Greg's list.
And I mean, here we've seen it exposed all weekend, Greg really. How? Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Greg does have one copy of Hear Me Baby Hold Together.
Yeah.
And one copy of Perimeter Scan.
I mean, Hear Me Baby Hold Together and Perimeter Scan, really. Two cards he wants for their functions other than pulling shields. But here, he'd be forced into pulling the shield. But especially Hear Me Baby.
Especially Hear Me Baby is probably the best card in the matchup aside from Guts if you can get it active.
Right, yeah. Canceling Ceasefire and Hidden Weapons, two cards that are extremely powerful in the hands of the core player.
I was looking to see if Greg has a copy of Neighboring Leads. He does not.
That could be useful.
What he does have is another copy of Ahsoka Tano, which Chris had in the previous game. We didn't see it. I would really love to see that card on camera here.
We have a report that Reed Smith has now won his second game, so he should be advancing to the finals to face the winner here.
So Reed Smith on to the finals, likely to face Chris Kelly, but it's not done quite yet.
Right.
Greg Shaw is a great player, trying to navigate a difficult position.
Is this his hand there? No, it's just he just spent this turn and did a ton of draws?
May have.
That's
Might have been looking for the shield puller.
Yeah, I think he's forced to that.
The only other thing he could have been looking for would have been home one, which is already in his hand. So I'm not sure why he would have.
Yeah. I don't know if you win that way. I think you have to deploy the home one and hope that the 1 or 2 cards you draw are the shield puller.
I would agree with that. So verification, a lot of good destinies in there.
Yep. A lot of red.
Yeah, well, hidden weapons is a 2, but otherwise.
Hidden weapons is a good destiny for hidden weapons.
True. I think I saw both of them.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 of them.
Nothing good. Or not that.
And it's going to be Chris going to space first, Allison Hinthra. I think that was Woof. It is Woof.
Probably. It makes the most sense.
Greg does not run on the edge or any other type of mass retrieval, to answer Jerry.
Spend 3/4 whoever that passenger is.
I was looking down at the chat. I didn't get a good look. It's a Jodo cast.
Oh, is it Jodo cast? It does make sense. He cancels the second battle destiny.
See my name? And on the right is a lot.
On the replay, it looks like Jodo cast.
Yep, there he is. And that, I think, is Dengar. So this is just Chris Kelly slowly just strangling out all of Greg's remaining options, and Greg going for the Jedi Love Lost to get... I don't even know what he's looking for here.
It's hard to tell because we didn't see everything that went to the Lost Pile in that overflow battle.
Yeah. Maybe he's looking for Lando or something?
Might be looking for Solo.
There's Solo. Yeah, that makes sense.
Had to be either Solo or Akbar, you would think.
I think I saw Akbar in hand. Or did we? Maybe he was drawing for Akbar last turn? Again.
Maybe. Well, he can pull... Well, he would need Akbar to end up in reserve deck, so, yeah. And we haven't seen a leadership either.
Yeah, he probably wants to save those to play during battle. Okay, so Greg's turn, he looks like he's saving 2 or 3, so I'm guessing maybe Battle in Space this turn. Might just be forced into that.
So Greg is at 16 life force, Chris is at 19.
Well, it's close in terms of life force, but the whole damage on the board thing is much less favorable for Greg.
Leadership has been grabbed, so I guess that means he did go get Akbar.
Oh yeah, good call. And
Greg's
that
deploying
much
here.
force.
Solo to the Great Pit.
Maybe he's about to move them into the audience chamber? Why is he backing up the Great Pit more?
Qui-Gon against Mara.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. But here's the thing: you kill Mara, and then he
Qui-Gon's
just
gonna
deploys
die
someone
too.
else. Yeah, he just deploys someone else and moves
How
over.
many more spies does he have?
He doesn't need a spy. He has the Coruscant docking bay, so
Oh,
he
the
can just
docking bay, right.
deploy there and move. EPP Mara isn't even a spy.
Oh, that's EPP. Okay.
I assume so.
We'll see if he swings.
Yeah, that would be the test.
Or I could look in the deck list and spoil all the fun. Mara Jade with lightsaber.
Okay, decides not to swing.
Decides not to swing, strands Qui-Gon. I actually like that play.
I'm not
You
too
assume
crazy about it.
well, you assume that Greg has a resilience.
Although, yeah, well, I guess the other thing is here.
At this point, when he didn't have the system, I would have, thought about redeploying someone. Now that he has the system, now he's draining at Jakku, he's draining at the audience chamber. He's doing the damage that he needs to do, regardless of.
Yeah, but I mean, you kill Qui-Gon, you put him in that position again where he has to spend force to answer you, spend his turn to answer you. That was his turn, as opposed to developing space, which he needs to do eventually. If you delay, the more you delay that, the more time you're doing damage, and he's not. It might depend. Maybe he wants to Ellis into the Jedi Council chamber and just blow up Qui-Gon. But
he also had to get that battle.
Yeah,
so
but
and Mara is one of his best characters. So if you put him into a position of doing it again, now he's in a position where if he does redeploy someone to the Jedi Council chamber, Qui-Gon gets resilience. Chris is looking at taking overflow in the Jedi Council chamber if he keeps repeating that.
Yeah, but he only had to kick the battle because he declined Destiny. If he had drawn Destiny, he wouldn't have had to kick it. Probably. Depends on what he draws.
Well, maybe not. He's still getting outpowered.
That's true.
Mara's forfeits.
Yeah. So there are upsides both ways, but it's a debatable. It's an interesting play. We'll say that there are multiple lines that make sense.
Not a great reserve deck verification for Chris here.
Yeah, not really.
You see the interrupts that you do see: hidden weapons, projective telepathy. Those are low Destiny interrupts. I really see.
Yeah, and the rest.
I don't think I see any card above a 4.
Characters.
And there's only one 4.
Yeah.
Yep. This might not always be right. So we don't even anymore. We can go ahead and delete it. This one's from the seminary. Probably Roseanne. I want to try this with that one. Hold up to here. So try to push, instead of pushing, you're kind of pushing above this thing, push right on it.
Yeah, and Chris Kelly's hand looking awfully red here, so you saw his deck had a lot of characters. That's
Hold up here. Hold up to here.
Yeah, and he doesn't do much because he's just drawing.
Well, he doesn't need to do much. He's in the driver's seat right now.
Right, yeah. It's the onus is on Greg to change the game state here.
Chris wants to lure him back into one of those situations where Greg is forced to battle and Chris has the necessary ability to counterbeat.
Yeah. Ellis is the kind of scary thing here.
Yep.
And the thing is that we know Greg has a Hudrix, so you can't really Ellis the Jedi Council chamber get that Hudrix and then what?
And there's no need to. Qui-Gon's not doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean he's the isolated character. He's the character that he's the most beat down
would want to. It's certainly not a play that I would make here.
But yeah, no, it's not worth it. Not right now. We saw Chris Kelly win his game yesterday by doing something similar to this, going to both of the Twixes from the late side player, declining Destiny at both, and used Greedo as a react in order to survive at the Boss Nash Chambers, and then was able to just do a huge counter beat for the game.
So here's home one finally, but it's going to Nalhada. He's not going to try to go to Jakku, which...
I think that's... I mean, it depends on what he has. I guess, given his life force situation, he might not have even had enough force to deploy battle and draw the destinies.
Force.
Yeah, because we don't see anything in reserve, so that might just be a forced play. But still, I think you might want to just deploy that to Jakku.
There's a barrier from Chris, probably just a cycle.
I guess so. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. And he cancels it.
He's canceling it to cycle. All right, so we're just going to put all of our cards back.
Okay. Yeah, I guess.
Hey, lose a force, put a 5 back. Not a bad play.
Yeah, no, that's not terrible.
Looks like Greg has 1 saved. Or he put a card back from hand.
Put it back,
with,
right.
Like my father before me. Yep.
Yes. But still, we kind of wanted to see that go to Jakku rather than Nalhada. Now he's just eating that Drain of 2 again.
So it is, I guess, important to note, looking at the deck list, Greg does have 1 other ship. He has 1 copy of the new Falcon. Although I don't know what that would really do in this situation, especially with Han on the ground.
Yeah, no. It might just be he knows he needs more with Akbar. Like, he might think that he doesn't need to be that ambitious to win by 2. He might just think, okay, if at some point I'm able to add a couple more characters to this ship, then I can just move in front of his space all day. And yeah, I take this 1 Drain of 1, but this is the last Drain of 2, but this is the last Drain of 2 I take, and just have space control.
It's 3/3 right now in damage, right?
Yes. But I think
The longer that goes on, the more it favors Chris.
Right. Jakku is a Drain of 3, you're right, because that's a light side icon provided by the Allison Hinthra. So, yeah.
So it's 4 then, because isn't he draining at the audience chamber?
Yeah, so, yeah, it was just, I was mistaken when I said it was Drain of 2. Yep.
Yeah.
Alright. Okay. Okay, good. Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Cycle, they're still coming through.
So, she hung up to it, went away, but for you to hang up, it's the right button. No, okay, contribute stuff. So, you want to add
And some kind of shield Polaric interrupt. I was wondering what that interrupt was. Cold feed or something. Either way, there is no try to sit the table.
To John Anderson in the chat, yes, it is Jodocast with Wolf and also Dengar?
Yeah,
On Ellis?
EPP Dengar, yep.
No, you're in favor. You want to pay recess. Okay.
And back to Greg. Or no. That was the end of Greg's turn. Of course. Chris now looks like he's got some more characters in hand. Nobody really... This might just be a staring contest for a while. Because nobody has really good attacks here.
Well, they can only do it for about 3 turns or the game is over.
Yeah, it's true. Greg needs to... Well, I think maybe Greg moves in front of Chris at Jakku. He needs to stop that space drain.
I would move Qui-Gon over to the docking bay. I'm not sure why Greg hasn't done that yet.
Yeah, I mean, it might be like if he moves Qui-Gon to the docking bay now, Greg can go, or now Chris can just go back to JCC. So I think that's the reason not to do it. But then again, I mean, Chris elected to just have Qui-Gon there, so it's kind of weird.
I think Greg's hand is kind of forced at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so he might just need to go to the docking bay.
And even that doesn't really change anything. It's still not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, not without... He also needs to go to space, and we see Zuckuss and Miss Hunter in Chris's hand, and some other ship. Is that... What's the other ship? Slave 1, I'm assuming?
It's... Zuckuss is in his hand?
Yeah, that's the first card in his hand.
Okay. He must have gotten it back. It looks like he did get it back with Jabba's Haven, because he's rotated that. His other ships are Slave 1 and Sith Infiltrator.
Okay. I think one of those is in his hand. I'm not sure which one. But I think I did see another blue card in the hand.
What did Greg just do with launching the assault?
I don't know. Oh, just picked it up to read
Just
it?
picked it up. Okay. Oh, I had forgotten about launching before. So it's 4-4 in damage right now. Which makes it even...
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if he's able to successfully, like, be superior in space, he'll be doing 4-1, which is probably enough of a ratio to get him the differential that he needs.
The problem is I don't think he can be superior in space.
That's indeed the problem.
Because we can say that 4-4 is even all day. It's not. It favors Chris.
Right. Greg needs to get himself into an advantageous position in this game. Because he's behind.
P59 from Chris. Where's this going?
Is this a program trap?
That would be juicy. I don't think I saw one in Chris's list.
Okay. Maybe battle to kill Han. Turn off the guts, and then...
But if you're not initiating a ton of other battles...
Yeah, it doesn't seem... I'm not
is that
sure where
great
this is
just
going.
to gick away your P59? I guess it makes Greg lose 2 if you hit.
Yeah, I mean... There's some merit here, but...
There's Zuckuss going to Jakku.
Okay.
No program trap.
Okay. Yes, I don't know exactly what this P59 play is accomplishing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he gets Han.
Yeah. Oh, so he just battled. So he is kicking. He's just going for
Yeah,
Han.
he's just gonna kick the battle.
Turn on his guts. Turn off. That's the problem with guts is like they can just kill Han. I mean, also you could put Han to a ship, but what if you can't put Han to a ship?
Right, so he does run a copy of the Falcon, which is good for that. You could put Han to home 1. Like I said, Watch Your Step, or Old Allies being the ideal deck for that card because it is much easier to just leave Han somewhere out of the way.
It does make sense. And the Gick, of course, is used.
And it's also a value play for Chris. Like you said, it's 2 force from Chris, 2 force from Greg, plus a card that was on the table. And even trades favoring Chris at this point.
That's definitely true.
Both players getting pretty low on life force. Now this is interesting. Chris is going to spread out. Ellis goes over to Nalhutta to challenge home 1 with Zuckuss staying at Jakku.
And Greg doesn't even seem interested in battling in space. He didn't save anything in reserve.
Boba and Scum going to the Tatooine drain.
Which I feel like he needs to have battled. How is he winning this game if he's not going to battle in space at some point?
Well, he can't.
Well, he has to.
He can. Well, if he moves over to Jakku now all of a sudden he's only taking 2 next turn instead of 4, but that's still not going to do it.
Right.
Especially because he's losing his space drain.
Yes, he needs to have the space drain.
He's treading water. He's trading a 4/4 damage ratio for a 2/2, which will double the number of turns that he has, presumably, but still not going to win him the game.
Yeah, but then what does he do when Ellis moves to Jakku and Zuckuss moves to Nalhutta? He has to battle at some point, so waiting doesn't do anything good for him.
I'm not sure. Do you have a good sense of what's in Greg's hand at the moment?
Not really.
He's got about 4 or 5 cards. One of them looks like the battle planes.
Yeah, and I think Kujix also is.
It's another Jedi Lev?
Yeah, getting back Solo.
Getting back Solo. I would put Solo on home 1, exactly. Yep.
Which he does. But how is this winning him the game? Maybe next turn he'll have enough force to battle? I mean, he's constrained by his life force and to not being able to do all the things that he wants to do. Yep, so home 1 goes to Jakku. Qui-Gon does go to the docking bay. So now he's doing 3-2, but that's not enough.
It's not enough. Chris is going to retrieve with firepower.
Yep.
I'm surprised he didn't pull that the turn that Greg played home 1.
Maybe Greg is playing for this game to time out.
Still not going to help him. He's down in the life force count.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah, he needs to be up. Yeah.
You get the sense that if Greg hadn't walked into that huge beatdown early on, he'd be doing pretty well in this game.
I think so, yeah. Because for taking a top deck of 17, this is a much better game state than you would expect if you said this is a random game where light side got beat down by 17. Like if you said one of these players took 17 damage in a battle, which one?
You would think it would be the Scum player.
No, you'd probably think it was light side. But still. Yeah. You'd have to think about it for at least a second,
Well, if you showed me this board state and told me someone got beat down by 17, my thought would be that it would be the Scum player who then just, battled and retrieved and battled and retrieved and clawed their way back in.
No, that's a good point. Yeah, that's true. That's not even an open shot case. So he's doing very well for how disastrously this game started.
I think I actually did have a game against Greg Shaw at Worlds last year where he was playing the Scum deck and I was playing Light Senate. I got in a pretty good beatdown in the early game, but Senate, of course, is a deck that battles a lot, and he just kept hitting and running me in space and retrieving and getting back into the game. And I eventually won the game, but that opening beatdown, we got to a point where it almost didn't matter because he had retrieved most of that force.
Yeah, Scum has the capability of doing that, for sure. Okay, so, yep, going back to the Switch, making Greg have to battle this Ellis at some point.
He's got to do it this turn. He can't afford to sit there and have Chris be the one to initiate the battle. He also can't afford to move away and let Chris train for 3.
I think so, yeah.
It's now or never.
All right, let's see if he's activating. Let's see how many reserve cards he saves. Saves cards and reserves. Yeah. Or maybe 3. I don't know.
At least a couple. You just pass? Oh, drain. Force trade.
Yeah, but where'd the reserve deck go?
I think he activated everything.
Did he end up activating after all?
Yes.
I'm not sure about these decisions here. He's clearly thinking this through. And he's got something in mind. We just don't know what it is.
Is he going into the force pile? He's moving to the audience chamber. What this is going to do, this is just going to let Chris retrieve as much as 4 force next turn if he wants to.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe he just has to...
And he's moving away in space. So Chris is going to drain for 3, battle retrieve 2.
Okay, it looks like Mike Gem has returned from the lake. Let's get him... Wait, he's already... Is he added to the call? Did he drop... Alright, how do you add... Do you have Mike Gem on Skype? Do you know how
to... He was in the call before.
Yeah, so
let's look at the call.
Recent, so...
It looks like it's just... No, it's not what I'm looking at.
I messed up trying to add you. I added a whole new list. So how do I get back to my old list? Oh, wait, here we go. So let's see, invite to group call. Alright, I think I got him.
It looks like he's still... I see his name still on the call.
Yeah, but I did just do a new invite to... Is that you, Mike?
Who, me?
Who, me? Who, you? Yeah.
Hello, Mike Gem.
Oh, my God. Casey. What's
How you
up,
doing?
bro? Good, you?
What's up? I'm good.
Chilling. We were just at the lake with the Desais, hanging out with the fams.
Awesome.
Very nice.
These games are taking a long time. I only missed 2 games.
Well, you missed... Well,
2 games.
Because you left us at the first game.
Yeah. This game looks like it just started 2 seconds ago.
There was a beatdown by 17 in this game. Which player do you think got beat down by 17?
I think that the light side player got beat down by 17.
That's probably because I just kept on telling her Greg was losing, right?
No, I didn't hear that. I would just... I'm just looking at the board, and Job is still alive, so I don't know where the beatdown would have happened on that side.
That's a good point.
Jesus, Tom, stop trying to catch me. You can't. I'm too good.
Anyway, yeah, this game looked like it was...
How much did Chris win the first game by?
7.
Chris won the first game by either 7 or 8. We're not really sure.
Cad Bane about to kill some Jedi.
Yeah, and so...
You came back just for the good part. There was a lot of
this part's
running
sick.
away.
All right, well, why don't you guys tell me who's at the audience chamber right now for the light side? Because it's really tough to tell. I see Elephant Ray,
Anakin, Luke, and Luke's lightsaber.
Yep.
I like it. And on the dark side, we have Jabba, Greedo, Forlom, Boba Fett, Cad Bane.
Yep. And,
A whole bounty hunter crew.
and Shizor just going to the Great Pit of Carcoon by himself. Neither side really initiating battle.
Mm-hmm.
We saw you've got a lot of guts coming here as the starting effect from Greg.
I like it. It makes all his ability 3 guys forfeit +2 and power +2.
Something like that. But the more
Something
important part is that it stops Scum from retrieving.
All right, I guess that's also important, you jag.
But it hasn't really mattered because the thing is he just never has been on board.
Like everyone, there's been no battles this weekend.
Very few battles this game.
We have
The
had
one
2
really
battles in this
decisive
game.
battle.
3 battles in this game.
The
2 battles at the
Qui-Gon
audience chamber,
era,
and then the one that killed Han.
Then 3.
3, yeah.
Or 4, because Mara and Qui-Gon also.
Oh, Mara and Qui-Gon at the Jedi Council chamber.
And then Qui-Gon, so there was a declined destiny there, and now Qui-Gon has moved out to the docking bay. So, let's see what happens from that.
All right, well, I'm pretty excited for the finals. Do we know who's in the finals yet? Who's in
Reed
the
Smith is in the finals.
Reed Smith running the table. Hasn't lost, right?
Has not lost yet.
Well, he lost a game, but he lost game 1 of the quarterfinals, correct?
Who? No, Reed won that. No, Reed did lose that.
Don't try and correct me, Tom. Didn't we go over this already?
Yeah, he lost by 5. Reed did, but then
came back and won, like the Reed
Yeah.
Smith that he is.
Tom
Little average Reed Smith.
Yeah, it was not. Tom Hayden looked like he. Yeah, we were very kind of weirded out by Tom Hayden's entanglements play.
Ooh, interesting. I can't wait to watch it again. Rewatch it. Watch the replay. I've been poring over Tom Hayden's light side list quite a bit when I was hanging out with Justin. I think it's close. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
But it definitely needs. Sorry about the mess. I mean, come on, bro.
Yeah,
I missed that game. What was Tom playing for Lightside?
Oh man, he played non-flip Diplo with his own audience chamber and 3 you will take me to Jabba Nows.
So 6
7
cards to beat Scum.
7 Jedi Lukes and Savrip, and Reed was not playing Masterful Move combo. He was playing regular Masterful Move.
and he had the celebration and
Yeah, and he was celebrating. Yeah, it was good.
yeah, and he had
And he had Qui-Gon
just
in his
used the
Diplo.
yeah, that was a mistake. He just used the "You will take me to Jabba now" to get things like Chewie, Lando.
Just to make his deployment smoother. It was great.
Yeah, basically that.
Ooh, we get Zam Wissel fighting Qui-Gon Jinn on Coruscant. That is highly thematic.
That is true. Wait, no,
she's running to the Jedi Council chamber. Theme broken. There's no more thematic play here.
This is the
Pretty sure
play that
Qui-Gon
we were
was dead by
suggesting
that
a
point.
lot yesterday.
Oh, you think that was the first time Zam Wissel ever got into trouble in Coruscant?
Probably not.
Wait,
No, of course
who
not.
chased down the?
Anakin and Obi-Wan did, but that doesn't mean that
right. Yeah, you're right.
Listen, man, there's a whole untapped.
If Qui-Gon had
storyline.
still been alive, he probably would have been chasing down that
Yeah,
attack.
not only that, but like one thing that they really haven't delved into, like everyone's hyped about an Obi-Wan movie, young Obi-Wan on Tatooine, but like why don't we get Qui-Gon Jinn the early years when he was trained by
That's it.
young Dooku? That's Scoopzilla
There's the scoop. Yep.
from Greg. So Chris Kelly versus Reed Smith in the finals coming up next. Stay tuned. Wait, how many
I'm
people are
going to
watching?
be bowing out at this point, but Tom, thank
it-
you for the opportunity to commentate, and
Thanks.
Mike and
Casey.
Tom.
Casey, is that because you're about to come play me on Jemp? Is that why?
It's
Good, Jeff. Come on.
because... Well, is that a challenge? I might have to rethink my plans now.
I might play some Jemp while we're commenting. I'm kind of in the Star Wars mood.
What was the plans, and does it involve a fish concert
It does not. That's next month.
next month?
They're doing a run of 13 nights at Madison Square Garden.
Oh wow! How many of those 13 will you be at?
Probably 12.
12.
12?
You has to miss for the Sabbath, obviously. But other than that,
You like fish that much?
Yeah.
That you would go 12 nights out of 13?
Yeah, you gotta
Taking
go.
only Lord's Day off for rest?
You gotta go every night, or you might miss something. No, I'll even go. I'll even go on Saturdays. One of the days is a fast day, so it's not going to be too much fun after 24 hours of not having any food or water. I just can't see myself getting through that.
Okay. But so wait, can you go to a concert just as long as you don't like drive there or anything like that? Could you?
Yeah, Madison Square Garden's about an hour from my apartment walking each way, so I'll do that.
So you just
So the-
walk and then
The fact that they're playing like electric guitars or whatever, I don't
I'm
even
not
know
playing
what kind of
electric guitar.
instruments. Yeah. Okay. So it doesn't.
What about
matter. Makes sense.
this isn't like what about like do you have to have a paper ticket? Like how does
Ooh.
Yeah,
How does
I wouldn't use a mobile ticket, but yeah, it's all paper tickets.
And he would have bought the ticket ahead of time.
right. But there's no problem even like handing over the ticket? There's not
There-
like
there
not even
are-
that
It's
exchange?
there
kind of
are
a
certainly
representational transaction.
There are certainly people who wouldn't do it. I am not one of those people.
But at the all right, so but are there people who like would go because they can have their friend hand the ticket?
Sure.
Or does that not count?
Yeah, there are people that would do every which one of those.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's just more of a it's interesting.
I love the arcane rules that you live by. They're all-
No matter what scenario you can come up with, I guarantee you there will people who will and there are people who won't.
Sure. What is acceptable? Or is there no such thing as acceptable because
There's no such thing as acceptable. It depends on who you are and what type of system.
much like the
beliefs,
way
right.
that Tom and I have talked about language over the course of this weekend, that it is all up into interpretation.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I'm not. I wouldn't say all of it, but there's definitely a wide
Like
range.
he just did say a lot, like all of it is up for each person's individual interpretation.
No, because I could say blah 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 blah, and that's just objectively meaningless. And no matter
That's not communication. We talked about specifically communication and what is understood and what is like intended.
right, and I think that's the value.
And I think if you're saying something like that gibberish, you're intending to be a dick.
So you're reading my intent.
I win again. Is someone going to play me a jump while we wait, or what?
We can play a jump game.
All right, I'm out, guys.
All right,
thank
so
you.
have fun.
Good luck to Chris Kelly.
Ooh, shot. Called.
Oh, I share that sentiment. We'll be back in a second. I gotta go.
Shots doubly called. I personally don't give a shit. I just want to. How do I edit a deck in Jump? How do I load a deck? I see new deck. I see save deck. I see rename deck. I see copy deck to new. I see deck list. Ooh, is deck list? Oh, the suitcase, right? Open deck. Deck list. Open deck. So I've been messing around. Oh, that's right. I don't control the stream. I can't show you guys this deck list, but I've been working on quote unquote Andy Wexton's EOPS ties that he played yesterday. But I know that was a Minnesota Worlds list. And one of the things that we were discussing is possibly playing Terrafineer to pull the fighters coming in, just so have both AOs searchable.
It does make sense.
But I don't see where you clear up two spots.
It's that tight, huh?
It's
Yeah,
pretty. I mean, you could cut the Onyx ships because I don't think the Onyx ships are particularly good.
Wouldn't you want, like, if you're going for a TIE Interceptor and it's Saber 2 instead of Saber 1, that just feels really weird, right?
Right, and at that point, you like if I'm just giving up on the Onyxes, so you could make this less about scythes, which I don't know if you want to do, but let's just say like you could play the other gun, right?
Yeah. Doesn't it already play like one of each or something?
No, it plays two of the TIE LN gun.
Okay.
But like, let's say we played 1-1. We turned Helmsley into Baron, and we cut the Onyxes for Saber 2 and Thur.
Mm-hmm.
And then cut a Talon roll.
Well, it already has just one Talon roll.
Okay, I took a barrier.
You're cutting the second Talon roll.
So cut the second Talon roll. Could go back to the barrier. Could still play Onyx 1. Could still play Onyx 2 for the shield pull. I find that interesting. But I think what this deck's struggle will be is like OA with the home one, and then if you cut that package for the fighters coming in package, like you really limit what you can do to shoot the home one down.
Yeah, and you're worse in that matchup, which
And
might be a problem.
that might be your worst matchup, so it doesn't make sense to do all that necessarily. But also, like, even if you're just fighters coming in, end or drain, like your damage potential is 4, and then like a 5th damage if you happen to be able to play artillery and not have it grabbed. So it doesn't have high damage potential either.
Well, here's an interesting wrinkle that I'm not sure I'm supposed to throw out, but I will anyway. What if hypothetically, by the time Worlds comes around, Endor Ops Flip is an option?
Well, in that case, then I think anyone who doesn't play Endor Ops Flip is a moron. I think
Whoa.
depending on how easy they make it to flip. Like, is it old school Endor Ops Flip where you just like get to play Ominous Rumors for free?
No, I mean, not quite. It's, just like the Ominous Rumors isn't changed. It's just established secret base right now is not really a playable card. It's like the deployment conditions, I can't remember what they are, but they're just too onerous.
Yeah, they're absurd. They make it, you have to have like tie scouts, Tempest scouts at like 6 different Endor locations or something.
Right. So what if just established secret base was easier to deploy? And we won't get into what established secret base does if there is such a thing.
If they made, what they really should do is make an Ominous Rumors established secret base combo card that you could pull once, play so they're both on table, and flip. And it should even like hurt you. Like, you lose 1 force a turn, or you have to, like, it has an upkeep cost. That would be busted. Actually, that would be genius. A dual card, Ominous Rumors plus Established Secret Base, that had maintenance cost. And it was blank other than the maintenance cost.
Whoa. That is cool. That's a really interesting idea. I will have to say that that's not where we're going with it, but that is interesting. But Ominous Rumors itself is a really good card.
Ominous Rumors is insane. That's why if you made the combo card together, you couldn't allow Ominous Rumors to.
Right. So it's interesting because, I mean, that's now you're getting into like really deck building decisions of, do I want the upside of the Ominous Rumors or do I want the upside of the flip? And which do I build my deck around? And depending how you answer that question, you're looking at vastly different decision trees going forward as to how you finish building the rest of the deck. So,
I mean, Endor Ops Flip to just limit your opponent to 1 battle destiny in every battle
is really, really good.
I mean,
yes.
I feel like I've done a fairly good job of like creating decks over the course of my career.
Yeah.
But the one I am probably most proud of is the Endor Ops that Chew and I played to both day 2 in 2010. And it had Ominous Rumors like it is now. The established secret base was like, whatever, you play it for free. No big
and
deal.
it just like pulled Ominous or something, right?
Yeah, and then Dreaded, I can't remember, maybe it was Dreaded, but like you get to play a squadron when you played a Star Destroyer. And so you played a Star Destroyer, you get the free squadron because you were able to pull the TIE Assault Squadron, the original one, and because
it just let you deploy.
Because it was 0. And then you move the Star Destroyer, and then you have Ominous and the Endor Drain, turn 2, and then because Dark was so bad, we played Blizzard 2 with Veers, and just every single deploy 2, forfeit 6, 7 Imperial you could possibly play. And we just threw them all on Blizzard 2. And that was the whole deck.
That sounds really cool.
It played laser cannon batteries, and it played it was good. And it got us both into day 3, and it got me to the top 4, Justin to the finals. Justin played it on day 3. But
right, that was
a meta where you couldn't play Dark. Dark was super bad. Like in the top 8, Aaron Nelson started the Gick effect against me and played Gick. Like that's how bad Darkside was.
Wow. Yeah, was that right after the Revolution? Was that when the timeline was?
No, it had to be before.
Before, okay.
Because
I think I was not at that World.
Really?
I think so. I don't really have clear
Hunter-
memory of
Hunter
that.
slept in the hotel on the floor.
Yeah, I missed that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was the whole idea was Light was so good that limiting them to one destiny everywhere, and just having Insane forfeit on the ground was the only thing that you could do.
Yeah.
I beat
Dark
Justin by
being I think that was Dark was unplayable for a long time after the Revolution, so it was probably immediately post Revolution.
What are you counting as Revolution?
That was the change that happened in like summer of 2009, I think.
And what was that change?
That was when they redid like half of the virtual cards basically.
Oh, they nerfed a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Like Corellian
Old Kemper had
Camera
like 12
Umbrella.
lines of text, and they cut it to just like 4 lines of text.
Yeah, he only had the Force Lightning Lost. He used to be Force Lightning Used or Force Lightning Lost, right? Just built in.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Yeah. And then,